What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to How to Trade, formerly known as the Midday Show. That is your girl Adara, and I am Sharif. And as per usual, we're going to wait for everyone to migrate on over. Good morning to you, and happy Friday, Callum Mitchell Miller. Thank you for being so kind. What is up, Bears versus Bulls? Happy Friday to you as well. Easy Trader, we got Charon, the Badger, Step, Andrew Chow, JC Finance, Mo, Bob, Dub, Billy Turner, Dam, Laura Sanchez, Aaron and Joanna Brewster. We got Cristiano Ronaldo, Scott H, Big Michael Lloyd. We got Raphael. We got Kevin Mendoza. We got Trade Trigger. There we go. We got Jose. We got Stephanie. ND Trade, Vin Dwang as well. Frank Boso, Jose. We got Fat Figure in the house, one of the OGs there. Randall, we got Dawn, we got the Piper, we got the Gauntlet. Good morning and happy Friday, Adara.
Happy Friday to you as well. I was just thinking, it's like crazy how quickly you have to read those names. So
super fast.
That is, yeah, respect to you. And I know Sean also does his roll call as well. So yeah, I tried to do that the one time when you were interviewing Mr. Kevin O'Leary. I was trying to, Mr. Cashflow. Yeah, it's a struggle. So shout out to that. I am good this morning. I haven't really, I'm going to be honest, had enough of a time yet to look through ranges I like. However, Apple was just on my side chart or my screen when I pulled up. The charts, and I have to say there's something here I like. I'm not sure what it is yet. We have a stutter step to the downside. We're rejecting off the 9 EMA. Now we're dancing with it in a way that I find vaguely intriguing. I like this 170, just shy of 171 area. I have no plays on this yet. I want to make that incredibly clear. I just want to wait to see if it develops, but it's something I have my eye on. Partially, yes, because I did open my P-Pro 8 to find it here, but also because I do like this 9 EMA action.
I like it.
What about you? I heard some pump-its and some sounds.
Well, we're doing a little bit of a dance here with MindMed. Another day, another double-digit % move for MNMD. Shout out to the cash flow man. This is one of the companies he's involved in, and we are at a critical level. That whole dollar level, $9. We're having a lot of trouble breaking through $9. I got a quick short, flipped. Got stopped out as it broke through 902. So maybe that isn't the trade here, holding to a strict stop loss. I'm gonna wait, pack my patience, figure out which way this is going to resolve. Obviously, if I want to go with the direction of the trend, I'm looking for a long here, but it's got to break and hold above that $9 area, not just do the wick shimmy from either side of it. So we're going to pack our patience, see if we can bamboozle anything into MNMD. Shout out to Nimit. He's going to want me to look over these small cap gappers, and I absolutely will. I've got a host of small cappers today that we can talk about, a lot going, not like the crazy kind of triple digit gainers with like 10 of them running like we had a couple of weeks ago, but enough to keep things interesting. But we have a lesson that we got to get to, and it is the last day we're going to talk about volatility. We're talking about backtesting today in volatile markets. Backtesting, one of the things that you can do if you get the Trade Idea software. Shout out to the NOS boss and his crew over there. You can backtest up to 3 months on their platform to see if your trading style works. And you can obviously test it during whatever markets took place in the last 3 months. So if it was volatile, well, you can do backtesting there. Also, obviously not affiliated with us, but Thinkorswim has backtesting as well. I'm not sure which other platforms have. If you guys know, throw it up in the chat there. Let's inform our viewers. But let's get started with the lesson. Backtesting, guys, is an absolutely valuable tool to evaluate your trading strategies, but especially important in volatile markets because of the risk involved. Here's why and how you can adapt your backtesting strategy approach. Let's talk a little bit about that. So why do you want to backtest first and foremost? What are you going to gain by doing these backtesting procedures? Well, it helps you uncover your strategy's weakness. So volatile markets have a way of really exposing the flaws in the strategies that might work well during calmer markets. Backtesting definitely helps identify these weaknesses before you actually risk real capital on the line during the times of extreme volatility. And it also helps you optimize your risk management procedures. You can test different stop loss positions, your different position sizes, your risk to reward ratios even, and see how your strategy performs under these various conditions. So backtesting, if you're looking for a reason, there's a plethora of reasons, not the least of which I just enumerated right there. But adapting your backtesting approach requires a few procedures here. So the first and foremost is you want to make sure that you're using high quality data. And I don't mean to disparage any of the sites out there, but a lot of them are lagging, right? A lot of the, the short float websites, there used to be one called floatchecker.com. It gave you various different data points about the short float for a particular instrument. It showed you what Ameritrade was saying. It showed you what this website was saying. And sometimes they were completely at odds. So what you need to do is you need to, usually ante up. You got to pay up for the good data sources. And I would suggest to you that you do that if you want to be in this game long term and to have the appropriate data given to you through these backtesting strategies. So you're trying to use high quality historical data sources. Ensure your backtesting data covers a variety of market conditions, including periods of both high and low volatility, so you can see how your strategy measures up during both those periods, all right? So make sure you are doing that. But you should also incorporate volatility measures in your backtesting approach. Include volatility metrics like average true range, ATR, or the historical volatility alongside your price data. Average true range, in case you're just starting out your day trading journey, it basically looks at a 14 trading day period, and it says during those 14 days, NVIDIA moved on average X amount. All right, so you get the idea of how volatile the instrument is and what to expect in terms of stop placement, in terms of position sizing. If something's moving $5, $6 in half an hour, you have to change your position sizing. You have to change your stop loss placement. So you need to be aware of all that kind of stuff. So include volatility measures in your backtesting, like things like average true range. And this also helps you analyze how your strategy performs in different volatility environments. Just because the market's volatile doesn't mean that all volatility is created equal. The markets tend to act a little bit differently, whether they're more bearish or bullish, despite the fact that they're both volatile, right? They don't necessarily act the same way. They're not just the opposite reflection of one another. So make sure you're testing your strategy during periods where we were, bearish, bullish, despite the fact that they were both volatile there. And you also want to stress test your strategy. What does that mean? So you artificially, if your program allows you, you artificially increase the volatility within your backtesting software to see how your strategy reacts to extreme market swings. That is if your software allows you to do something like that. And I would suggest you to try to look for one that does. This also helps identify potential breaking points within your strategy so you know where it does well and where it doesn't really do that well. So make sure to look at those avenues as well. And analyze the walk forward optimization. What does that mean? So this technique involves backtesting your strategy on smaller chunks of data sequentially, mimicking real-time application. So you may not want to look at your strategy within a week's period. You may want to do that, but you may want to look at it in isolation. Let me see how my strategy does right at the open. You see the Katina man identifying levels on the sticky note off which he wants to get levels. So try your strategy using the Katina man's time slots, and then maybe you want to look at how the period during which Adira and I trade, that slower time, 11 to 2. How does your strategy do between the times of 11 to 2? So you want to have these kind of smaller chunks of data to make sure that your strategy just isn't working during a specific time period or during a specific market, but it is sound during all markets, all right? And this also helps avoid overfitting your strategy on historical data, which can lead to unrealistic performance expectations. So if you try to take a particular type of trade using your strategy during the more volatile open, it may work very well, and then you try to use it during, the less liquid time of day, and all of a sudden you're getting cut up, you're getting stopped out. It just doesn't work as well as during the open. You need to be aware of that, and the only way to be aware of that is if you do the testing, all right? So make sure you are spending that kind of time on your strategy. Make sure it's working. And also, goes without saying, you got to consider those transaction costs, baby, because those eat into your P&L. So factor in trading commissions, spreads, other fees associated with your trading during backtesting, right? So, when you punch long 1,000 shares on my brokerage, it's a different price than when I punch in 50 or 25 shares. So you need to make sure that if you're going to size up, you're taking into consideration those extra commissions. If you're getting short during bearish markets, you have to take into consideration your borrowing fees for the shorts. Everything, guys. You need to make sure you're covering all your bases there. And this also helps provide a more realistic picture for your strategy's potential profitability, especially if you know what fees you're going to incur. And Adara threw this one in here. These are some similar strategies to backtesting. Thank you, Adara, for throwing this in. Your scenario analysis, right? The act of testing a strategy against a specific hypothetical market condition or like a black swan event of sorts. For example, seeing how the healthcare stocks might perform during a global health crisis. Well, anybody who was trading during the pandemic, just go and Google what mRNA did, or not even Google, go pull up your chart and look at how Moderna traded between 2020 and 2022. I remember trading this from my own house at $37.50. That is before it made its way up to $400 it made its way up to. So scenario analysis, excellent one there, Adair. Thank you for throwing that in there. And forward performance, applying a trading strategy, right, to your current market without risking the capital, i.e. paper trading or trading in the sim. You guys have heard me say this over and over and over, and I'm going to say it again today, despite the fact it seems to be a little controversial with some viewers. You really shouldn't be using real money if you can't prove your strategy is profitable in the sim. That is just my opinion. Not everybody shares it, all right? And remember, guys, backtesting is a simulation, not a crystal ball. Past performance doesn't guarantee your future result. So even if your backtesting strategy is sound and you get good data from it, it's not a guarantee that moving forward it's going to be profitable. The market is always changing, and there are always new variables that you have to take into account. I hope that helps, Adara.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for going over all those. I think they're all really helpful. Also, yeah, so shout out to IG. I got that backtesting info with regards to scenario analysis and forward performance off of their website. And also, I like that you brought up the idea that volatility is different during bullish and bearish markets, because from what I saw in the IG article, they said that actually, apparently, volatility is more common in bearish markets. Oh. So it wasn't them, it was another site I saw. But there was some research I was doing that suggests that for whatever reason, volatility can be more common in bear markets. So, take that with a grain of salt if you will. But I think that's interesting just to note, and something I wanted to jump on with regards to just volatility in different markets and how important the analysis of that can be. Also, I guess, is there anything that you've learned from backtesting? Because I know you prefer to trade in the midday. Did that come? I know part of it's here in the show, but was there any of that you find your strategy works better? I know with the small caps, waiting for them to settle down? Or?
Last time I did backtesting, I just got to be really honest with you, was 2022, and it was when I had a trial account with one of those softwares, and I did backtesting specifically on my small cap gapper strategy, which is definable pre-market high, above the pre-market high, and above the volume weighted average price. It was quite sound at the time. Again, though, it doesn't mean it's going to be sound now.
That's true.
All of a sudden, these small cap gappers, we could get a higher failure rate on the breaking of a pre-market high. We don't know, right? And so that's why it's probably prudent to do it a lot more than what I've done it. But
Thank you.
Yeah, good question there. T-Money, come on, bro. Let's go Bayern. No, T, come on. In case you're wondering what the hell I'm talking about, Arsenal drew Bayern Munich in the quarterfinals of the Champions League. So boo Bayern and boo you, Harry Kane. Yeah, I'm talking to you, you former Tottenham, you know what. Yeah, because, once a Tottenham player, he gets booed by all Arsenal fans for eternity. After that, yeah, once you are associated with Tottenham, you will be booed no matter where you go. Whether you're playing for Bayern Munich, you could be playing for whoever.
That's a lot.
Arsenal fans will boo you. Harry Kane returns. Look, guys, I'm long MNMD. This one broke above 9, got to that 905. I'm looking for a general hold of that 9 area. I'm going to give it 2 pennies below 9. If it breaks 88s, I'm out, right? I'm looking for a hold above this level. I tried to short it initially, but it just keeps putting in higher highs and higher lows. So why fight the trend? Let's see if we can go with the trend. If it ends up stops me out, I'm giving it 6 pennies or 8 pennies worth of risk here. No. 7 pennies worth of risk. So not that big of a deal. Keeping my eye on some of these other names though. Let's bring in the side chart here and talk about some of these Mag 7 names, because I did have a dip trade on Tesla that I removed, that I now very much regret. I'm sitting here on the bid at 162.50. A very clear reason for that. Number one, it's the closing print from yesterday. You guys know how I feel about closing prints as levels of both support and resistance. In addition to that, look how many times we kept wicking off that 162.50 in the pre, and also it's generally the IB low. I know we wicked down a little bit lower, but look where the closing print is there on the IB low. No, sorry, actually that's 925. This is 930. We held it on the IB low. So I definitely like that. Sure, we broke it for a bit when the market started tanking, but we reclaimed it right away. And then over here, we started doing the wick shimmy dance from the north side with that 162.50. So I really wanted to take that Tesla level. I didn't, because the future was on the way down and I was worried about taking Tesla long while the futures were tanking. You know, I should have looked at them in isolation, but you know, that's on me. Anyway, it's up above $1 now off that level as it breaks through that 163.60. A bit of a compression pattern here on TSLA. The reason I say that is we're getting sequentially higher lows, but we're also getting lower highs. A bit of a consolidation move before that, so I'm not really sure what the exact trend was before, because, you know, compression patterns are continuation patterns, and usually they resolve in the direction of the trend that preceded them. And here there's really no trend because we were sideways, we were moving sideways. So not sure exactly how to interpret this. We'll keep eyes on TSLA. The other one, you saw the Katina man taking AAPL short, and I happen to love this trade in front of 171. Couple of reasons for that. In fact, there's more than a couple. Number one, we have a flat bottom right there where we defended that 171 and a quarter area right there. And then it also is where the volume weighted average price is. Now we're rejecting off VWAP from the sell side. In addition, it's also the whole dollar level. So if this area at VWAP keeps rejecting, I'm going to be very interested in taking a short on AAPL. Maybe we can ride it into that 170 area. Technically, the low on the day for Apple is 170.29, just a little bit above that whole dollar level on AAPL. Now, the other one, before we send it to Adara, is MSFT. Microsoft, overnight, yet again, new all-time highs. However, big boy move on the way south this morning after the market rejected 18.3, and it looks like we're about to touch 18 at one point. Look at this. So we make that hockey stick shape, down and then horizontal to the right. But we have a discernible trend. We seem to have 16, I'm talking about 416 as a level of support, and then at resistance, we have VWAP just a little bit below 419. It keeps ranging in between the volume weighted average price of the north side and that $416 area to the south side. So we're awfully close to 416 right now. We may be interested here in getting along at 416 to play that trend, but I'll have one eye on Microsoft and the other eye on the future. I'll have to like split my eye, right? Right, to see if I get long here, because I don't want to take Microsoft long if the futures are going to tank. So that's just me. That's my look there. We'll get to the small cap gappers in a minute once we see what Adara has been looking at.
Yeah, I haven't been looking at much. I got to be really honest, it's not been a great trading day thus far. I do like, though, the concept of this AMD short. I'm trying to take 50 pennies on this. Pretty small position size. Basically what happened was I liked that we kind of came up here, I was watching, we come back to that 192.50, we reject. Then we come up here after some chop and turn, and I was watching on the book. We couldn't hold it. I said, I like what I see. I got involved, a couple pennies shy of 192.50. Initially, the plan was to take this to 191.50s-esque, so that little area where we saw a little bit of chop and turn, a little bit of a struggle. Okay. And then we kind of, weren't really able to achieve that. So I decided, you know what, Adara, get out at 192. You'll be happy with that. So I did. Looks like we could be on our way there. Yeah, this market's been nuts. Also, I tried Amazon one more time. I drew way too many lines, so I'm gonna have to delete some of these. But basically, I knew we were seeing slightly kind of a compression-y pattern on a downtrend. I thought we could have a break to the downside, but we were holding this 175.50s really well. I kind of wanted to just kind of scalp it in and out. well, I was going to take like 20 pennies. We didn't get there. I got out. It's a boring trade, I have to say. To try to add someone, we held that 175.30. We broke below 175.20. Bye Amazon. Express delivery out of that trade. Tesla, same idea. I think Tesla was a long, but we were really struggling along that 163, so I wanted to play a little bit. The play didn't end up being valid. I got out. Honestly, just normal cases of the trade fails and you leave. AMD, I still have a scintilla of shares left because we got part filled on the way out here. So I'm going to be watching what we do. If we continue to fail this level, I'm going to wait until we get the rest of that filled. Wish I had some more exciting trades, but there's not a lot of ranges happening here. I will be keeping my eye out for some range opportunities. Apple, interesting. How is that Apple trade going?
There was huge size. So the Katina man is short 171.05 on AAPL. And as Daryl was dropping hot lines, he told me that there was big boy size at 170.82. That got blown through. It was big. And now we seem to have some hidden sellers here in the low 70s. So we'll see what we get there. But the Fuge gave up, Katina man. The Fuge gave up 18.1. So I think Apple's headed down here. We're short at 71. Let's see what kind of move we can get. We'll look to wet our beak maybe in front of the $0.50. That is if it continues to head down. It was an excellent VWAP rejection, 3-candle VWAP rejection on the 5 on AAPL. It looks like, yeah, we did break down below 18.1, but for how long? Anyway, we'll pack our patience, see if we can print a little bit better. I see you, Jay Lee. Adobe reversion mean trade setup. It just huadumped $100. I can't trade Adobe. I know the Katina man is laughing because like that's a major huadunk. I can't trade Adobe and manage risk while I'm on the show, so I'm going to have to forego that, but we'll look at it when things slow down just a little bit, Jay. Amazon just broke resistance or support level 2 on the pivot point, so Amazon looking awfully weak here as the Fuge breaks down. Guys, check. Below that resistance level 2 over here, and it's also breaking down below 175. So resistance level 2 and 175, they were jiving there today. So I don't know if the Knob is trading AMZN. He is the Amazonian, but right now Amazon is on the way down, and we've broken well below yesterday's low. Now we're actually breaking below. Yeah, we broke below Wednesday's low here, and now we're going to have to look at Tuesday's low on Amazon if it continues to head down. So we're going to keep eyes here on some of these names. Yeah, Microsoft is the other one here. It's coming into 416, so we talked about that 416 level. We're going to have to pull up Microsoft on another screen here, Adair.
Yeah, Microsoft definitely deserves its own screen. That one was very bamboozling yesterday. I was talking, both Sharif and I think, had a little bit of a fight with that name. And if you fight Microsoft, I guess you will lose. You will not be dancing like Steve Ballmer in that video, let me tell you, or at least I was not yesterday. I did get involved in this NVIDIA short, and I'd like to talk about why. Honestly, there's not a lot of range movements today, so I'm trying to get comfortable trading things that are not in my wheelhouse, getting out of my range a little bit, if you will. Lower highs, look at these wicks here failing to break into that 893, 894 area. Took a really small position here. Don't even really have enough room for beak wetters, honestly. If we have a nice failure of that 892, I'm gonna add a little bit. If not, we're going to be saving a piece here, see what we kind of, watch. Okay, first I'm going to be watching out for this 90 MA area, this 888s, 889s. We'll see what we do here. If not, I'm going to be saving a piece for the dream of that 887s, just shy of 888s. Basically, I just said 888 twice, so I guess I want to get 888s. But we'll see. I don't really have enough room to piece this out, so we're going to have to wait and see what occurs. If we get another opportunity to add, I might. If we don't, I won't. If we break decisively above 893, buy NVIDIA, we'll be out NVIDIA. So that's what the look is here right now. Let's see how this goes. But yeah, I mean, this could be a long because it is NVIDIA, and bamboozle it does like to do. But we're gonna be prepared to leave this one. I've just set my order here to leave, so let's go. Trying not to fat finger. I'm very proud of myself. I haven't had many fat finger trades this week, which is a weird thing to brag about, but when you've seen how many I've had in the past, you know, you gotta take small wins sometimes. Shout out to Louis Tortora saying, Adara punch short AMD. I already did the AMD short and took it off, just took it to the 90 MA. Clearly there was more bang for the buck there if you stayed in that, so congrats to anybody who did stay in this. The big area I like here is that 191. Look at that kind of top and turn before we pop back up. Then we see some more top and turn around 191. So I think 191 probably does have a little bit of A little bit of interest there, but not the type of trade that I'm really going to be looking at. Tesla, though, kind of rejecting here, kind of a little bit of interest here, maybe a little range around that 163, 40, 163. So we're going to have to see what we do. I like that both AMD or NVIDIA are moving to the downside, because I know Neil and Shauna kind of talked about this. NVIDIA can sometimes, not always, serve as a little bit of a futures if you're going to be trading some of these chip names, unless it's Intel, because Intel does like to do its own thing 21. But yeah, other than that, I feel like, the fact that both AMD and NVIDIA are moving to the downside, if I want to continue to play both those names, that's something I'll have to be cognizant of. Right now, though, pretty pleased as punch with this NVIDIA trade. About $1.50 in the paper money there on that.
It.
How are you doing?
Yeah, they're ranging. I mean, I'm short the Qs below 18.1 right now. I'm also short AAPL, both out of the money, but like negligible amounts. Let's look at SOUN, because this one was another good one today. What's up, Katina, man? Short AMD 193. Oh, that's the one? Yeah. And then the Apple. He's short Apple, short AMD 193. So if you're following along with the Katina man, two things. Get subscribed to that channel right there. It goes by the name More Trader TV Live. It's its own separate channel, own separate account. As you can see there on the screen, the Katina man's short positions, the Neil short positions, tons of data. You can decipher that for yourself. It is a separate channel. Make sure to get on it and know what is going on at all times here. Shout out to the best team, and that goes by the name of Ram and the Chilean Nightmare, baby, on the ones and twos on the back there. So we'll keep eyes on that. We'll keep eyes on both these trades here, on both Apple and on the Qs. Looking for the first print at the $0.50 on the Qs. Well, this will have to reject, though, that 18.1. We were making nice moves down below it, rejecting off the volume weighted average price. I'm talking about the NQ June contract. We made ways down. That prompted me to get short on these names over here. Jay Lee, take the triple Q short instead? Yeah, I mean, I could. I mean, I don't see, aside just from the difference in price, which is really not, I mean, it does make a difference, right? I'm on the Qs right now. We'll just, we'll keep looking at that for now. Softy, again, at that 416 level, we may want to take this long, Adara.
Yeah, no, honestly, this NVIDIA trying to pop back up here, which I don't love. I should have gotten out at 889s. We got just about $1 shy of where I wanted to get out, because I wanted to get out just before 888s. I should have been a bit scalpier with this. We're coming back into my point of entry, but if we reject again, and we are currently right now rejecting that 891 area, we're going to have to take it how it comes. I'm trying to be more calm in the trades, because I'm telling you, I would have panic punched out of this a while ago earlier in, okay, I'm a little disappointed, I have to say. I feel like if I had been a little bit scalpier, I could have avoided this move back up. But as long as we continue rejecting this 893 area, I'm not going to leave, although my blood pressure is spiking just a skosh, probably. Also, shout out to Freddie the Friendly Guy. Thank you so much there. I appreciate that. Just trying to grow as a trader a bit every day. And yeah, I honestly, my main take here as well is short chips, so I don't have any new plays there. But yeah, I think really it's going to have to see where we go in the market here. There's certainly, I think, a little bit of, as Sharif mentioned, some compression in some of these names. Tesla becoming Compressla. NVIDIA, it's not Compressla, but it's compressing a little bit here. I do not love these lower highs, lower low, or higher lows. Lower highs, higher lows. Not my favorite look, but I have no reason to leave this trade right now, so we're going to try to take a bit of a chill pill and breathe. AMD, though, also similar to NVIDIA, kind of doing a bit of a chop and churn. Right now, my main look is kind of shorting these chips on the pops, so I'm going to hopefully continue to do that. Tesla, so bamboozling. I have no words. I have no plays. All I can say is wow. Tesla, nice little bounce here off that repeated area of that 162.4. So nice look here. I may have to reevaluate my NVIDIA life choices. I don't, honestly, like I said, I wish I had a little bit more of a read on some of these names, and a little bit disappointed on myself for not scalping out of that NVIDIA a little bit earlier. Scalpulation would have been maybe my friend here. Yep. How are you doing? I'm
out of both. They're both, well, I'm going to look to get back into the futures, but Apple is a little rangy for me. So if I'm going to play Apple, I'm going to play it from from what's it called, a range trade perspective, but it's the future I'm looking for here for the rejection of 18.1. It does look like it's strong, so I'm not gonna bother with this one. Let's see what this one does. It's got to do the wick shimmy dance. It's got to decide how it's going to trade. It's above 18.1 right now. I'm trying to play the levels, but it's taking its sweet time. So we shall see what we get there. All right, let's flip to some of these small cappers. Let's leave the large caps for a sec and have a look at some of these small caps. So MNMD, I tried to play that one, but it's consolidating above 9, or at 9, I mean. So we're going to have to see how this one does, because right now it's in a state of indecision, right? At that 9, a little bit above, a little bit below. So we're going to let that one go for now. VERI, though, looks awfully good, as does GERN and VERB. VERB, I'm going to probably tend to stay away from because sub $1, and it had that big spike up. You saw Neil cover that one. But the one that I want to keep eyes on, though, is VERI. The volume has dropped off a little bit on VERI, though. Let me see what the volume is there. Yeah, look, for a $3 name, it should be doing a bit more than 6 1/3 million shares by this time of the day. It's 11:30 right now, so yeah. I like the chart pattern. I don't necessarily like the volume. So we'll keep eyes on it. The other one that's setting up for maybe a VWAP hold high of daybreak is BLND. Again, the volume a little suspect on this one for 11:30 right now. It has done 2 1/5 million shares on a $2 name. It really needs to do more. So the chart pattern's checking out here, but the volume a little suspect on some of these small cappers. Let's have a look at GERN. That one I think is doing volume, right? That one was early this morning. This one started moving. Adair put this one on the watch list, and yeah, this one has done 65 1/3 million shares. Definable pre-market high in this. So this was okay. So this moved yesterday after market. This moved at 425 in the aftermarket yesterday. Popped into 369. So that's yesterday's price. Now, these are the institutional prints at 8. So those don't mean anything to me. This is the high level over here that we got to at 4 a.m., then again at 420 and 425. That is that 350 level. And on the day, it is that 349 level. That's the high of day. So this hasn't broken above the pre-market high. So it's got a couple of check marks, but it has 1X next to its name, and that is breaking through the pre-market high. So one thing you could do here, if you wanted, you could have a breakout trade set up for the other side of 350. So maybe at 351, this one breaks a pre-market high, you take it, and maybe the stop goes below the volume weighted average price, which right now is hanging at 325. That's a little too much risk for me between the entry and the stop. 25 pennies on a $3 name. I typically have a little bit tighter than that. But what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to put an alert out on this name that if it gets into the mid 40s, I'm going to put it at 45. So if this thing gets into 345, I have a 5 penny, heads up before this one touches that 350 level, and then we could weasel our way into this. GERN is what I'm talking about here. So let's flip back to some of these mega cap names, see what the Future did. Yeah, so the Future is sideways right now, a little bit above 100, a little bit below 100. I don't want to get cut up anymore on the Future, so I'll have to wait until this one decides which way it's going to go, and then we can try to weasel a trade, I guess, Adair.
Yeah, a lot of weaseling here. I'm currently weaseling my way out of Dodge and NVIDIA. We just got out here. Okay, so basically what happened was, like I said, a little bit kicking myself for not getting out everything here, but we didn't come to my area, and this wasn't really a planned range trade as much as it was a failure of this area. That's okay, but I'm honestly really proud of myself for not getting out once we got above my area of interest. I said, Adara, we have not gone above 893. You have no reason to leave. Also, this wick must have been a dark pool because I didn't see that on the book. If I had seen that on the book, I would have run for the hill. So I just want to clarify there. We did not get decisively above 893. But basically what happened was I took out some of this at 890. I added here too at 892 because I was seeing that we were continuing to hold this level. I was like, cool, add a little bit of Dara, be a little bit brave. Don't be a deficient trader, because as Sean says, a scared trader is a deficient trader, and I had no reason to leave, so I added a skosh there. Then I was like, let's take some of this out. 890, save a piece for the dream at 889s. We didn't get to 889s. Then I noticed we were struggling with 891, so I took the rest out there. Honestly, please to sponge. We fought a little bit of a battle here with NVIDIA, but we did win the war. And also, I mostly, I have to say, I'm more proud of myself than just how successful the trade was. I'm not saying it was successful. I'm saying that I got out unscathed, but I'm saying what I'm more proud of here is just the fact that I stayed in it and I didn't panic the second that we got a little bit chopped out here. Also, because that reminds me, I know you were saying this, I think, last week as well, or earlier this week. Sometimes it's like not even about how much money the trade was, it's about how you executed it and how you feel about it.
Yeah.
And that's honestly, I think, what matters here for me with NVIDIA. I'm pretty proud. So we are out NVIDIA, we are breathing a little bit more easily, the blood pressure is going down. And Apple, you say range trade, and I go, huh?
Yeah.
I told you Apple was the first thing I had my eye on today, partially because it was what was on my P-Pro 8 when I opened it. But this little 170.60 bounce is kind of intriguing. Slightly lower highs, so I'm going to be really cognizant if I enter this long, and I want to watch it a little bit more and how it interacts with the book. But I think there's something happening here that I do not want to miss out on. NVIDIA, I'm going to be staying away from for the time being. AMD, though, lower highs, lower lows, range trade, or I guess playing this trend line, I guess. Yeah, I think there could be something there. Really just continuing to look out, keep an eye on these range trades. Thank you guys for the support there in the chat, much appreciated. Really just happy to be here learning with everybody. Also some mentions here of Adobe. Neckline, $6 down in Adobe, clear neck stop. I will not be getting involved in Adobe. I'm gonna say Anobi to this one. That was not great, but it is what it is. Yeah, this is, wow, 15% to the downside. I just don't really have levels on this thing. You know what I mean? Like, big move to the downside. I was seeing apparently if this closes below 400, it's gonna be the first time it's done so in months. I was seeing that, I believe, Bespoke on Twitter. Yeah, this daily chart also brings a new definition to the word nasty. It's a bad look. Look at this previous area of support that we've broken below here. Oh, RIP my chart. But yeah, we broke below that support at 500. So honestly, don't really have any levels. All I have to do is sad face for that Adobe chart. But yeah, if anyone's having some success with that, congrats to you. Just really not my type of trade. And as Sharif said, risk management a bit tricky on a name like that.
Oh yeah.
Especially when you're trying to trade and chat and all of this stuff. Also, Frank Bose was saying Obi-Wan Adobe in the chat there, so that's pretty funny as well. Shout out to Obi. I do not know how he
the Kenob.
Indeed, yeah, I don't know how he trades Amazon, because Amazon I find to be very difficult to stop. Microsoft, though, if we break the support at 416, this could get spicy for me. How are you doing?
I just got into TSLA at this exact same level over here, so we're going to look for Tesla to bounce off that key support level, but I'm going to have a really tight stop on it, and my stop is going to be at the 30. So I got long 64, so I got to give this one to the low. Let me just show you guys what I'm talking about. This is Tesla over here, and we've been bouncing off this white line over and over again. I'm going to give it to this candle over here. I might have to actually flip to it right now because it's breaking down. Jeez, man, I can't catch a break today on any of these trades. Jeez Louise. So I'm going to give this one another cent or two. Let's see if this one bounces up. I'm looking for it not to make a new low off these levels. I want it to hold that 35 penny area because that is the low prior to that. So we'll see what TSLA does here. And yeah, well, it's at those lows again, so we might have to hit the flatten key because I haven't had an opportunity to put in a stop. So keeping eyes on Tesla, looking for that bounce up off yesterday's closing print. The closing print yesterday on TSLA was that like 162.43, 162.40 or thereabouts. Maybe third time isn't a charm because it's been bouncing off this level multiple times. And here we go. It's about to break that 30, and it's going to be another L for me right now. So can't catch a break right now on any of these trades. This triple witching day is a tough day to trade. But yeah, you know what? The market is headed down. So I actually had that right read on the market, but yeah, got bamboozled out of it. We're breaking down aggressively below 18.1 right now, on our way down to 18.050. But Tesla not tanking, funny enough, here, trying to hold that specific level that we've been talking about. So maybe I won't get stopped out of this. That would be pretty cool. So keep eyes on this. Picky Eater says OB must be printing. Amazon down. Yeah, I asked him if he was trading Amazon. I don't know if he is, but yeah, the Amazonian is headed down. The Amazonian is down 2 1/3 today. So not a good look for Amazon on the day, but we'll keep eyes here. I'm just going to send it to you because I want to put in my stop.
Yes. Please do so. Yeah, I think I'm feeling all of these witches. Yeah, all 3 witches definitely hitting on triple witching day. Mahmoud, so triple witching day, as far as I'm aware, it's when you have the contracts turnover. So we have the futures turnover. You also have rebalancing. So SMCI, super macro, no, I'm joking, super micro, but it is certainly a beast. That one is going to be gracing the SPY with his presence tonight, or I guess as of Monday, but so some of the rebalancing there going to be pretty interesting. That's just kind of what it is, the flipping over the contracts as far as I know. Turin Bar, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Adara, we can wait to short AMD in a 5-minute candle, close below 191.08, or enter a short with close SL at 120, stop loss at 192.45. Only get out on 5-minute, so don't get wicked out. Yeah, no, that's a fair point. I did have a trade on AMD earlier. I think, yeah, I appreciate that. And thank you so much for the super chat. I think myself, a little bit, I kind of prefer the range trades, right? So this, just kind of taking things when I see the pop and kind of getting out. Lately, I've been doing a bit of charting on the 5-minute and mostly trading off the 3, but I see what you mean, like getting involved below 191.08. Okay, I see here. So it's going to be about, yeah, about here. I guess a failure, another low. I think, too, what I'm seeing with AMD with regards to a short thesis is lower highs, lower lows for the most part. But right now, the idea of a short right now is getting a little bit dicey as we chop and turn around that 191.50. Honestly, there could even be a range for me from 191.50 to 192. So I'm going to keep an eye on this. With regards to a stop loss, though, of 192.50, I totally see what you mean. We had this kind of topping tail candle that I got short on here. That failed move into 193. I think that's certainly a strong area of potential resistance. So yeah, I agree with that thesis. And thank you very much for the super chat and for bringing this one up. Yeah, I think Amazon, not Amazon, AMD could be interesting. Let's see if we AM destroy that. Tesla, I still like that one. I was looking at that 162.60 level earlier as well, but I was because I like my ranges and my counter trends.
Yeah.
I was planning on taking it 163 short to 162.60.
Yeah, same thing.
I think it's totally a support area, and it looks like Tesla wants to keep you in the Cybertruck for now. It's like, don't leave, Sharif.
Well,
I'll stay in that
I'm holding
area
for now. I put it through the lows. So if this breaks at 30 penny level, that's going to be the end. So you can't risk 10 pennies on Tesla. I mean, you're going to have to risk like 30 to 50 pennies, if not more, during the open. Obviously, an entirely different story trading during the open. That's why we're talking about volatility. So it's holding for now, but for how long, a different question. That's fine. I'm committed to the trade. I like the level. It's a rinse and repeat level. If I end up getting stopped out of it, that's the cost of doing business, and that's fine. Keeping an eye on the future because I'm looking at that 50-point level as an interesting area of support. So if we keep heading down, right now we're at 18.075 or thereabouts. If we keep heading down, I'm going to have eyes on the 50-point area. Rich Naples, Tesla, 162.50 pin today would be max pain for option holders. Big open interest on both sides of that strike. Not saying that happens, just saying, well, yeah, absolutely. I see what you're saying with that. But, you know, at the end of the day, it's easy. It's good to have all that information. The other part is, obviously, it has to actually unfold the way that you're predicting it's going to unfold. So that's what we're doing. That's what we're in the trade for at the moment. The Hayes record, serious question. Anyone know when Powell takes the podium on FOMC next week? Well, he typically takes the podium at 2:30, right? That's just typically how it is. Let's go ahead and look. What day is FOMC?
Wednesday.
Wednesday. Okay, so there you go. You have your answer right there. You know he's going to take the podium at 2:30 because that's just always how it is. The interest rate comes out at 2. Papa drops hot lines at 2:30, and it's just a matter of which day it's going to be. So there you go, Hayes. I can't find a date, but maybe the 20th. You said Wednesday.
It is Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
So
it's usually they meet on the 19th,
There's the 20th.
and then they go to the 20th. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Tuesday, Wednesday meeting, and good to go there. Sean Blaze, Verb, absolutely. Let's look at VERB. So this is the Niels call out this morning. I don't want to say I'm not going to trade this, but you know, I typically try to stay away from sub $1 stocks unless really they're approaching that $1 area. I have my filter at the 85 penny area, so it'll filter out anything less than 85 pennies. But this one looks fantastic. Let's call a spade, man. This one is going up and to the right, holding VWAP above the pre-market high. Check, 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 check. All these checks beside its name, the company profile. Let's talk about this. 19.75 million shares. Oh, that's what I didn't do, Adair. I always try to remember to load up trade ideas, and I negated to do that. So let's load that up. Trade ideas, make sure to use Trader TV 20 if you want to be able to get the short float and all the data that I use trade ideas for. Shout out to the NOS boss and his crew. Michael Moss coming in with a hot line today saying he's going long that guy. I ain't doing that anymore, I'll tell you that. I learned my lesson there, and he even told you, calls the Widowmaker for a reason, baby. Shout out to him. He killed it on that Mara trade, so we can never disparage the NOS, the boss. Float on VERB, 15.88 million. A little different than what I'm seeing on IBKR. Short float 2%, not negligible, but not anything of concern, I guess, at these levels. So we'll pull up VERB on a side chart because it may be a tradable name here. We may have to kind of just forego that rule that we have about not trading these sub $1 names. What happened, Ram? Okay, Ram's swearing up a storm back there.
And it was like loud.
Yeah, Ram can, she can turn it up when she wants to there. Nice, I like it.
She enjoyed that. That was a wonderful laugh.
Yeah, this is the look on Verb here. Nothing to disparage. How can you disrespect this name? 330% on the day. All I gotta say is, dang.
Yeah, I mean, you honestly, the best verb to describe Verb is running, sprinting, moving to the upside. It's the best, some verbs I would use for Verb.
Those are all excellent.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Also, AMD it's trying to AM destroy the shorts, unfortunately, here. We broke above that 192.50 area, which was super clear earlier, and we're continuing to run here. It'll be interesting to see what we do at that earlier high of 193. But it's interesting, too, because I said that top and trend could have been a little bit interesting. I didn't want to get involved yet, though. We broke above that range, continuing to the upside. So hopefully, we'll have to wait and see what it does here. But yeah, it's a little bit bamboozling, to borrow a Sharifism there, this AMD, because it did look like a very beautiful short. Also, Kyle Burdett leaving a really nice message here for tagged at you, I believe, for the whole team. So thank you very much for that. Kyle, happy to hear that your trading is going well.
Yep, shout out to Big Kyle Burdett. And that's the end of my trade on Tesla as it breaks down below that 162.35 area. So we're going to have to draw the line in the sand. Guys, I am legitimately 1 for 5 today. 1 win out of 5 trades. I might have to slow down here because I really don't have a read on these markets, or if I have a read on them, I'm not patient enough. Like, I had a good read on the futures, but it's a little bamboozling. It's showing me different signs. So I'm going to slow down a little bit here in my trading because, well, quite frankly, I don't got a read. Even the 416 on Microsoft, I kept talking about how that could be a good range trade. Where the hell did my Microsoft trade go? Okay. Now you can keep it on the screen because I'm going to show Softy over here. Yeah, so this was the 416 area we were talking about a Softy, and it broke down too. 415 and a third is where we're trading on Softy as the future's coming back down. Futures coming into 18.050. So the range trades that have earmarked, none of them are valid at the moment. The only one that I really see that could be valid is this 171 general area on AAPL as it's kind of ranging between VWAP. But the thing about this one is that it's putting in higher lows. So I'm afraid of a flat top break. Like, this is what I'm talking about in AAPL, 170.29. Then in every incremental candle has a bit of a higher low, although it doesn't break through that higher high. So something to keep an eye out for there on Apple. But yeah, I don't have any trades at the moment.
I also don't have any trades in the moment. I just put something in the chat to clarify. So I was briefly in NVIDIA. The goal was to enter NVIDIA at the top of this 889 area. We had a fat finger today. I have to say, this is kind of rough. I did have this fat finger move, and I was going to stay in it, and then I was like, Neil always says, if you fat finger, get out ASAP Rocky. So indeed I did. Yeah, Bears vs. Bulls saying still what? Yeah, I got 8 cents on it, so I'm not going to sit here and complain. And I didn't want to overstay my welcome, though, just because it wasn't a planned entry. So there we go. That's that on that. I totally agree with what you're saying. None of these ranges are holding up. It's breaking my heart. I'm legitimately very sad about it.
Breaking up my heart
Don't go breaking
I'm
my...
with you. No, I was like,
I don't know
that was Backstreet Boys. Yeah.
I was never a
I'm
huge
like,
Backstreet Boys person, I have to say.
Well, I mean, it's a little bit before your time. Like, Backstreet Boys were famous when I was in high school, Adara. So, yeah, that says something right there.
Yeah, Narwhal saying here the old fat finger, a story as old as time. Yeah, I mean, definitely the case for me. Although I will say I'm very proud of myself. I'm pleased as punch. One of the things I found this week, other than my micro ranges, that's helped is I've been fat fingering less. And that just comes from proofreading my trades. In this case, clearly we took the L on that. But yeah, that's just kind of, I have to say, that's one of the things. I find, take baby steps as you grow and as you develop into something. And one of those is not typing trades wrong. So, I can't diss it. Apple, I like the concept of, but Apple does not know what direction it like to be. Like, I think it's Tim cooking, but I can't tell if it's, what is it, like a souffle? Is it going to be a stew? I really don't know what it wants to do here. We have this slight curl up, slightly lower highs, but it's not even really compressing. The only read I really get is this rejection here on that topping tail, or I guess bottoming tail candle that wicked to the downside here at 170.50. That's the only real read I have. I have to agree with you, Sharif. I am feeling the heat and the bamboozlement from these here markets. It's like they don't want me to get involved. The only idea I still really like, though, is NVIDIA. I don't want to say it's a flat bottom break, but it's certainly lower highs and a bit of support here at that 887. Part of me was considering taking the long off the 887 to 889, but I'm like Adara. The downside, the potential downside push on this is too strong. Down, indeed there. So yeah, I think if I do continue to be NVIDIA, it's only going to be from a short perspective until we decisively break above those 889, 890 areas. Also, everyone loved this poll here. Live trading by Trader TV Live. Would you buy new merch? Yes, I would. I love the merch. Sean was rocking his sweater today.
Yeah, and I asked Brendo, I'm like, bruh, I thought we were allowed to order a couple of these for the team, right? So that we could sport them.
Oh, you want me to read the whole poll? So it says either, the votes are either yes or no, I'm boring. With an exclamation point. Oh, sorry, new merch. I'm sorry, Ramin, it's new merch.
So Ram, quick question. Are we getting new designs? Is the production team working overtime to create new merch? Oh, wow. Wow. No, they're going to take a cut of the profits, hence why they're pumping this. Wow, Ram. Okay. Well, then, if I'm gonna advertise for it, I want a piece of that cut. No, in all seriousness, though, guys, if you want some of the Trader TV merch, perfect time to show you exactly where to get it. It looks as if we're going to get new merch, but for the time being, Ram, this is where it's at. We go to the there we go. Let's go back into the Trader TV homepage, and under that area there, store. So I like this because a lot of these shirts, look what this one says. I'd rather be trading. Yes, I want to wear this and have people ask me, questions about trading and stuff. No, I don't know. 48 Canadian dollars, baby. If you ask me, for 100% cotton, that's pretty dang good. I think we should take this off. The masks. We're done with that now, okay? That's all over. And this cell phone case is for like an iPhone 3. So we should probably update. Sorry, Adara, I know you have that. I know you have that. I thought about it while I said it, but I know you're getting a new iPhone, so you're good to go there.
I'm very stubborn and I haven't upgraded yet.
But hold on, I thought you said you were getting the 12.
I have the 12, I just haven't put my SIM in yet.
Are you serious? Come on, woman. All right, so this is where we get the merch, guys, and I want one of the white hoodies, the one that was Sean, the Katina man was wearing one today, the white hoodie, shout out to him. All right, baby, we're holding 18,050 for the moment on the future, but look at this range trade on Apple, Adara. So this one continues to range below the volume weighted average price. It doesn't give a you-know-what about the futures market pumping up here. It's very content to trade within this range of 50 pennies or so. Keeps rejecting off that 171 or thereabouts level. Let's look for something around here, Adara.
Yeah, I have to say, I think that that would be a really fun merchandise for sure. I know Pillsbury was saying, I think it was Pillsbury saying branded bulls and bears. Yes, there we go. Pillsbury saying, I want a Trader TV branded bull and bear. Oh. That would be very fun indeed, especially shout out to our lovely moderator, Bears and Bulls. But yeah, Picky Eater saying, isn't it iPhone 15 now? Yes, it is. But don't tell that to my iPhone age. But yeah, no, I mean, It's all good. It's all good. Yeah, I just need to get the sim in there for sure. But yeah, I still like this NVIDIA. The reason I didn't get involved in the other 889 breakdown is because look at these wicks here, showing that actually we might want to get a little oomph, a little bit of pep in our step back to the upside here. I don't like these wicks of buyers overwhelming sellers just to skosh here. I know it's not super strong. We're still having lower highs, but I want to wait a little bit. I want to wait for a skosh more confluence before dipping a toe into that trade. Honestly, Tesla stop doing this to me. Tesla like keeps acting like it's tempting. Like we'll kind of have these pushes up. And that sound you just made, you were like, yeah, no Tesla. But this is a nice look here. I have to say like that. Whew, pamp it indeed. Yeah. Yeah, no, I think this is really nice. Honestly, I might have to hop in the Cybertruck with you there, or the Roadster, the Model Y. Because Model Y not.
Just open the door. Just open the door. We want to see the inside. Like,
he's really upset about the lack of Cybertruck interiors that he's getting.
I spent $25 on an auto show ticket that gave me nothing, bro. I want to see the inside of the Cybertruck. Why is it so hard? Right? And I went to Yorkdale last week. It's still not open. Like Elon, bro. Like I get, you know, you don't spend money on advertising. This is your way to create hype and stuff, but it's kind of annoying. I'm not gonna lie. Like I just want to see the inside of the dang truck. Anyway, it's not even a big deal for some people there. It's like a lot of people are seeing it in the States. I mean, from my understanding, you guys are seeing more Cybertrucks in the States than we're seeing Polestars. So yeah, anyway, printed here on TSLA, long 61, wet my beak at the 3/4, looking for that move into 63. Let's see what we get.
Yeah, nice job. Congrats on that trade.
Well,
yeah.
Let's make it 2 out of 5 at least, Adara. It's been not a bad, it's been pretty bad to start the day. Let's just be real.
The day is young though. We're not even 1/3 done the how to trade. You know what I mean? I also just realized it's 1 word per hour, how to trade. Kind of weird. So I guess we're in the how part of the day.
I like it.
I mean, kind of a weird analysis, but it's a Friday. You know, cool, we got this. I'm trying to get involved in this Apple range. I want to take a bite out of the Apple. I do, you know, I know I was saying the direction is very confusing, but I know I have a clear area I can get out at 171.10-esque, right? Trying to get filled at 170.85. I've talked a lot about how I struggle with my points of entry, and I feel like I either try to get involved at an area where we're not going to dip into, or just way too early. So that's something I'm still working on, I have to say. But you know, today or this week, we kind of started to curb the fat fingering. Maybe next week we'll curve the weird price entries.
Good for you.
But yeah, thank you, I appreciate that. But yeah, taking 1 step at a time. All jokes aside, all seriousness, I do like the idea of getting involved here, because look at that resistance kind of curling into support. I don't dislike it, but I also don't want to change my point of entry, not out of stubbornness, but out of a respect for, like, this is an area I chose, and I don't want to move it because I'm trying to chase a move. You know what I mean? So if we dip, I'll be pleased as punch. If we don't, where's the next trade, as our pal OB likes to say. AMD still on my side chart, and not really in my heart, but it's on my side chart. We're kind of curling up here, though. I don't have a huge read on this. Lower lows, right? Now we're trying to make higher highs. Like, what do you want, AMD? I am AM distressed by this chart. I want to wait and see what we do, but I don't really have anything on it, so it might have to get kicked off of my side chart. One stock with a permanent place on my side chart is Mademoiselle Lily, and it earned this place after one time I was like so sad I missed a range trade, and Sharif's like, just keep it up here all the time. So I do now, but right now the volume's negligible, to use a Sharifism. I have no read on this, and apparently P-Pro 8's not even a fan of my Eli Lilly chart because it just closed the charts, but I hear some excitement. Are you excited in the Cybertruck?
No, the Cybertruck's doing its thing, 21, but VERB, I was just yelling to the Neil, because he's the one that pointed this out this morning. VERB, you know, just a regular, a normal, an everyday 491% to the good on the high side, now halted at 84 pennies. This one started off its life. I can't even see that far down on the chart. I can't even see where the dotted line is. Yes, it started at 15 pennies, okay? And now we're knocking on the door of that $1 area. So VERB, I think this is the first time it's halted to the high side today. I could be wrong on that, but keep your eye on VERB if you're small cap inclined, because there typically is a trade to be had at that $1 range. Either as a breakout trade or as a rejection of the $1, you're going to have to make your decision as to which one you're going to take. But this one, can I short VERB? Sure, Comp SRX1 you can if your broker has shorts available for borrow. At Real Trading over here, we basically have access to every single stock. There's nary a stock that we don't have shorts available for. I haven't experienced one. I'll be here 2 years in May. I'm sure the big kahunas have, but personally, I haven't. So anyway, I can juxtapose that to my broker who has almost no shorts available for small cap gappers. IBKR absolutely sucks for shorts, and that's just the way it is. But there are other trading platforms out there that are good. Here comes Tesla into 163, and that's going to be my out right there. Please, as dang punch, finally get avenge on TSLA. We'd get a 30-penny winner.
I like that you say avenge. I appreciate
I'm
that.
some of your lines.
No, that's okay. And I want to clarify, too, for people who've not heard me say this phrase before. So I like to say avenge trading rather than revenge trading, because I think revenge trading, as I was saying yesterday, it's kind of like taking the John Wick approach to the stock. You want it all to burn. You want it all to go down. And you're so angry that you're kind of less focused on technicals and more focused on how you feel.
So true.
Avenge trading is you're still a little bit upset with the stock. The stock might have burned you earlier today, perhaps, but you're taking a more reasoned approach. With Sharif, you still like that area, so you still took that Tesla long.
I did.
And you didn't. And honestly, I think the thing with avenge trading too is it's basically, in a way, it's you're not letting yourself get discouraged. If you still see a point of entry, even if the stock did burn you before, you say no stock, it's not going to happen again. You're very firm with it. You guys come to kind of an agreement, and you take that ride together to the upside in your case.
I love how you're disciplining the stock. Like, what a disciplinarian. You're going to be a good mother disciplinarian. Be like, yo, you see what yeah, anyway. I don't know where I'm going with that. Anyway, I'm keeping my eye on the future. 18050. We keep bouncing off 18050. So I'm going to keep my eye on that. The thing is, though, we keep making these lower highs and rejections off the 10-period moving average. So, if you're looking for that mean reversion trade, maybe today the trade is just to punch short the dip. I mean, the pops. And this is what I mean by that. I mean, for the most part, you can see here the future has really held that 10-period really well. There were a couple of times, obviously, when we broke through it, but for the majority of the time, we have been hugging that 10-period rejection, popping into that 10-period, and like Obi says, there is that magnetic effect where the price seems to bounce back up into that 10-period moving average only to, reject. The thing to look for when you're looking for that magnetic kind of trade is, are we still printing lower lows? So in this example over here, yeah, absolutely, still printing lower lows. I think the trade becomes a little suspect when you start printing higher lows, like we're about to right here on the future. So yet again, we're getting another support level at 18050. Let's keep an eye on the 10-period. Look for a closing print above the 10-period. That may, show you that we're gonna micro change, just like we did over here when we put this bottoming tail candle, and then all of a sudden we pump to the high side only to reject off the volume weighted average price, which is fine, right? Because we're trading, we're intraday trading, so we don't have to hold this for the entire day. We can scalp. So right now it's printing a higher low. What I'm going to be looking at for the future is whether we can print a closing print above that 10-period moving average, which is the green solid line on my chart. You can see here the price has really been hugging that to the downside, only saving except for right here when we broke above it, the 20-period and the volume weighted average price. But for the most part, we've been printing lower. So it feels like it's a short the pops kind of day on the futures and the majority of these Mag 7 names, saving except for a couple. I'm talking about Apple and Tesla that are kind of range trading. The other side of that is NVIDIA. It's kind of like an upside down hockey stick on NVIDIA where you're down and then to the right consolidative. No, it's the opposite. It's up and to the right consolidative now for NVDA. And the range seems to be those 888s to the downside and essentially 95 or 94, I would say. I'd say 95 is probably a better range to the high side. So about $7 worth of range. Well, I mean, when you're a $900 stock, $7 worth of range is decent. Now, Katina May, can I ask you for those NVIDIA derivatives again? Okay, so what I'm asking the Katina Man right now are derivatives of NVIDIA that we can trade that move with NVIDIA but don't necessarily have the price. So we have NVDL, $41 that's trading at. Long, okay? That's the double long, the 2 times bull. NVDS, which is going to be probably 2 times bear. 2 times bear.
And there's another one, it's a little more expensive,
And then we have NVDX. That's around 90 some odd dollars. That's a bit more expensive. So if you're looking to trade NVIDIA and you don't necessarily want to punch in $890, $895, either for risk management purposes or you don't want to tie up too much of your capital, those are the two: NVDL for the long, NVDL for S for the short, and then NVDX. I guess that just goes whatever way, right? So those are the two. I just wanted to point those out to you guys in case you don't know about them. Yeah, that's basically it, Adair.
I kind of want to get involved in NVDX. I'm not even going to lie to you. I like this as kind of...
Ram.
We have these lower highs, these lower lows, higher lows, lower highs, but I think there's some kind of potential compression here. The only thing that concerns me is this looks way more like a bull flag than, it looks way more bullish, period, than anything the actual NVDA chart's doing, right? You have this big push up, then you have this stutter step. Adara, look away from this from now. You have to X out NVDX right for the time being. NVIDIA, though, Chef Joe was saying NVIDIA getting a bit of a leg up here, and I don't disagree, so let's pull this guy up here. NVIDIA decided to just show some triangles and a line. I think that happened to Obi yesterday too. Obi is like, oh, the chart wants me to like just trade this like one candle. But yeah, this happened to me before. It's a little bit disheartening, especially because I've been trading this name all day. That's okay. I'm gonna have to see if I can fix this. But yeah, what I like, I still have it on my side chart here. What I like about this is that we do have, I guess, you know what, I guess that actually is the same pattern when I zoom out, pretty much this move up and then this chop and churn. But we are still seeing slightly lower highs. But you know what we're also going to be seeing is Neil on his patented, I'm joking, lesson of the day.
I just want to say one thing. Sure. Guys, listen up really carefully today to Neil's lesson. It's going to be, I think it's going to be a serious one, and it's super important for risk management. Listen to Neil's lesson of the day today. Very important.
Welcome to the lesson of the day. And here's what it comes down to. So you've taken a black swan hit. Now I'm talking about something that when you sat down and you're trading to trade, or you got in front of your computer or your trading station, you would have never foreseen that the day could end up that way in terms of a loss or just the way the mechanics of what happened on the trade, completely unexpected, but it's happened and you've taken that hit. What are you supposed to do next? Now, first things first, I'm gonna pull up a chart and then everyone's gonna say, Neil, why are you showing a chart of a stock that doesn't move with a big crazy dark pool wick? But there's a reason I'm showing you guys this chart. So throw it up. This is obviously an example of a stock that literally doesn't move, probably 4 or 5 cents every single day, just little tiny companies being bought for $32.50 in cash. Now, the mechanics of what happened aren't that important here because that would be a video or that would be a topic all in itself, and I would take a little bit more time to try to explain that. But suffice to say that this candle wick here is not a dark pool wick. This is in the pre-market, and that wick up there, that was me. I took that hit at, let me just check the time in there, at 7:30. Now here's the real deal. At that particular point, you've started your day with what is the worst trade that I've had in 2 years. No question about it. If you were watching the live show, and anyone can go back and probably check in, and you can look at the tape on Thursday and say, I had no idea. I was able to come back, and actually everything I traded on the show, like normal, was pretty good. I ended up pretty much green on every stock except for this one, but of course I was gonna have a disastrous day and my worst day in months. You've got to ask yourself, what are you supposed to do next? And it's not unreasonable in a situation like this, for most traders, that you're just going to get up, and if you're not home, you're going to go home. You'll go for a walk. You'll calm yourself down. All of those things so that you don't then exacerbate it. Now, candidly speaking, in 20 years of trading, I've actually had that happen to me twice in 20 years. And putting in orders in the pre-market has actually over 20 years paid me more than it's lost. That said, that kind of a hit is really, really going to hurt. Now you'll notice, anyone that watches the show, I didn't do the afternoon show. So I got through the morning, partly because a lot of it was, I just went into prep mode, I just was looking at my charts, did the morning routine, we're looking at a bunch of stocks moving, and then the market treated it great, and everything was fine. And then at the end of the day, at the end of the morning show, is when I had to sort of take a step back and look after this and then realize oh yeah, look at that. Look where it opened and look at it just hanging there all day. Like absolutely nothing happened. And that started to really tick me off. And so at about 11 o'clock when we finished the morning show, I was peeved and I was only getting more and more upset. And I mean like angry, like I wanted to punch something. And you gotta ask yourself when that's happening, should I be trading in the afternoon? The answer, no. Should I be sitting there taking fills and trying to teach you guys and doing the show with Sean live when I know that I'm not going to be on my A game? That's not fair to anybody, and it's not fair to myself either. So Obi filled in for me in the afternoon show. I went home and I did 90 minutes working out so I could relieve that stress. And then, after that, I got to work. And there's two parts to that. One is to wrap your head around what actually happened and compartmentalize it. So you have to remember in that situation that trading stocks from market making or rebate trading on a buyout or a small cap stock, that is a completely different strategy from momentum trading. And on top of that, putting orders in the pre-market to get filled at good prices and then try to make a little bit extra money on those types of fills, that's even a subset of that strategy. So I have to compartmentalize and realize that grind that I've been doing for 20 years, I've got to then build slowly back doing that. I've got to take that loss, put it into a bucket, and realize that style of trading is what has to build it back. And separate that from trying to hit some kind of a home run of momentum that's supposed to do it. They're just two different things. And as a trader, you've got to realize that. You can't take that hit and then just say whatever opportunity, oh, I see a good trade in NVIDIA, oh, I'll just take 100 times more shares in NVIDIA because it's the same setup because I want to make that money back. You can't do that. You've got to go back to that drawing board. Now, it's not an easy thing to do, but compartmentalizing, realizing that's a bit of a black swan in terms of that trading style, and you can only then grind back, going back to the basics, going back to square one. You can't just automatically start putting more risk into it. That's how you'll blow your account up. You just do what you've been able to do before on a daily basis. Now, the second thing that I made sure that I did is when I came in today, it's follow the routine. When I came in this morning, I got up at the same time, I came in at the same time. I didn't spend a lot of time dwelling on how I was gonna make money on that particular stock again. I went through my charts, I went to my NVIDIAs, I went to my AMDs, I was looking at Intel, basically all the things that I would do on a normal basis. Didn't want to change it at all. Even though a black swan event has happened, you can't go around thinking that something is dramatically changed in the market or in your routine just because you had that event happen. You've got to go back and just go to your basics. So at the end of the day, I always like to consider myself a very measured trader. You're usually not going to see me freak out about anything. Even in that moment, everyone kept coming up to me saying, oh man, you took that pretty well. And I was at a meeting with our trainees when I explained to them what happened and how they could use it to their advantage and make it a learning experience. And they're all like, oh, you handled it pretty well. And I said, you have no idea how pissed off I am right now, and I shouldn't be trading this afternoon. So I went home. And you've got to know yourself. So what I hope is that no one ever has that kind of an event happen to them. That's the ideal. That said, you never actually see something like that coming. That's the whole point, right? Like the entirety of that move was simply me getting squeezed out. That's it. Nothing happened on that stock except me getting screwed. Nothing. And then it was right back in the same 4 or 5 cent range. So you're not really going to see something like that happen, but you can control how you react to it after. At the end of the day, once you've been screwed, that's it. You know, you can either go in a corner and cry a little bit if you have to, punch something if you have to, but nothing has changed in the overall market or with your account in that midterm. All you can do is relieve that stress and try to get back into work. But it is important to find a way to let it go and get back to business, get your head right, and do not hit the keys again until you have gotten your head right. You've got to know yourself. There is nothing wrong with something like that happening to you if you just take a break. And if that break is a couple of days or it's a week, that's fine. There's nothing weak about that. The weak person is the one that overreacts to it by revenge trading. That's mentally weak. That's gonna blow up your account. That's gonna have you with no second chance. So be that disciplined trader if you can. Take the time that you need and get back to your basics when you've taken a monster loss or a black swan event happens to you. There's no other approach to it. There's no secret sauce. So you got to keep it simple. That's your lesson today. How do you rebound from an exorbitant loss or a black swan event? And there's no trick to it. You just got to follow those steps. Good luck, everybody.
I hope everybody had their listening cap on, because that's the real deal right there. I mean, that's what the real emotions about trading. There was a lot of money on the line. Shout out to Neil, man. Thank you so much, Neil, for sharing that experience. Probably not easy to talk about, that's for sure. Adair and I witnessed it live. It's a very emotional event. I mean, we talked about taking emotions out of trading yesterday, and yeah, it's not a button that you hit
it's hard.
and all of a sudden you lack emotion. So thank you so much, Neil, for sharing that. I think a lot of people will get a lot of value. I know I did, watching it, listening to it, talking to him about it. These black swan events are part of trading, and that's just the way it is. So if that's not something you want to experience, then maybe this is not something you want to do. But I think what he talked about there with the most value is how he managed his emotions, right? You hear me joking all the time, throwing slippers, this, that, and the other. But there's something real behind that, guys. Yeah. So again, I want to thank him for sharing that.
Thank you.
So let me know, Ram, when we have Jad, because I think she's going to be showing up soon. Yeah. Oh. All good there. What do we got? Yes, I wanted to mention something over here. Yes, Tesla. I have eyes on Tesla. We kept talking about this 162.50 Ram that was a good area of support. Forget about that. That's gone. We're breaking down now and holding VWAP as a key level of resistance. We're on our way down, looks like possibly into that 161 area. We gave up the ghost at 162. We didn't really hold up at the whole dollar. In fact, I'd say we're likely using the whole dollar right now as a level of resistance. So let's watch what TSLA does. But I kind of foreshadowed where I was going with the next one, which is AAPL. And the reason I want to talk about AAPL, because it broke above the volume weighted average price, and now it's kind of breaking that range that Adair wanted to jump into. You heard Adair talk about the range trade on Apple, but look what we had here in this one, let's just say 171.15 or 171.10. Resistance level that we had. We had consecutively higher lows. So I think that was foreshadowing that we would eventually break and hold above the volume weighted average price. To me, 171.15, 18 is just not enough to get the proverbial juices flowing here, especially with this 20 acting as a resistance level. So I think Apple's still a short, maybe until it really breaks up through volume there. But everything right now in Mag 7 world is a short. The future is headed down into 18,000. We're about to touch the low of day right now on the futures. 18,029 is the low of day. We're right there right now. I think we just printed low of day. So another one. What's up, Katina, man?
No, we mentioned in the pre-show the NASDAQ could go down 1.5%.
The Katina mentioned in the pre-show that we could easily see a 1.5% red day on the NQ. Well, not easily, but we could see it. And right now we're at 1 1/3 as we come into support level 2 on pivots, and that is just about 20 points or so from that 18,000 point level. We're right there right now. Let's see if we can get a bounce off number 1, support level 2, or whether we'll actually have to wait until 18,000. I think a lot of people will have their eye on 18,000, so watch out for bamboozlement at that trade. If you're going to put a resting order, whether on the Qs, the T triple Qs, or the actual NQ itself or MNQ, make sure that you're watching exactly how this trades at that level, because you may not get that exact bounce. It may break below to weasel people out and then find its way up again. But everything down into the right today. Big Kyle, you must be printing on this, my man, because everything is down into the right, except for Apple and NVIDIA here, which is kind of consolidative at the moment. Dan the man, Emmons 18038, where we found support this morning. Well, I think we broke that, Dan. Well, we're in the 30s again, so you may be right at this point. Maybe we'll get a hammer candle here to show that support that you're talking about. But for the moment, I think we printed in the 20s, the low 20s, that is. So let's see if Dan can manifest a nice green move to the high side here. I'll be watching this candle to see if it closes out as a hammer candle or what. Nimit, kicking myself to exit Verb at 42 pennies with 12% profit. What a miss after not trading for 3 days and losing earlier this week. Hard luck continues, my man. I feel you. It's not been my day either I can't catch a winning trade for the life of me, it looks like today. But there we go. VERB made its way up to 92 pennies, but now we're in the mid 70s area at the moment but we're still up 440%. So I wouldn't be so quick to look to short this. I don't think this one is done. I think you may actually have more opportunities. How you get into this, though, an entirely different method. You know, punching at highs has not really been my forte there. What are you looking at?
Yeah, I'm looking at a little bit of disappointment on AMD. I guess I am disappointed. So I'm still positive on the name, although I'm in a trade on it right now, so who knows if we'll stay that way. Got involved because I like the support we had earlier in this 191 80s area. Then, of course, I get in. We get below, I get out, and then it decides it wants to work. I'm like, you know, AMD, what are you doing, man? Then we see that 192 rejection. I tried to get short on that, and then it's like, oh, joke's on you. You were right the first time. You just got the timing wrong. Now it's kind of curling up here, but we're not holding it very well. And basically, I'm watching that 192.50 area. That was going to be my out for the short. It was my entry point. Or sorry, it was going to be out for the long. It was my entry point for the short earlier. That's going to be my stop for the current short. That 192.50, I was talking to, I think, Turam in the chat about this earlier. That's been, for whatever reason, a weird sticking point with AMD. So that 192.50, if we can hold that as an area of resistance, I'm okay. I'm not adding to this position. It's really small. I'm just trying to dip my toe back into the market. Also, there's something going on with my charts, so a lot of them I just can't pull up. So NVIDIA, I guess, is going to keep me out, NVIDIA, because I can't really trade on this one right now, unfortunately. Yeah, I closed it and reopened.
Remember the other ones we just talked about?
Oh, yeah.
NVDL, NVDS, NVDX, yeah.
Thank you, Sharif.
Yeah, no worries.
There we go.
Are we ready, Ram? All right, let's do it. We have Jad from our amazing social media team, as we typically do. On Fridays, we have Pedro on Tuesdays, and we have we have them every Tuesday and Wednesday. Sometimes it's Jad on Tuesday, sometimes it's Pedro. Hello, Jad. How are you?
Hello. Yeah, exactly. Depends which side of the world we are on at the moment. So.
Is he still in California, enjoying that beautiful weather?
Exactly. And I was in Rio this morning, and I just got home like an hour and a half ago, and you know, back to work. Well,
happy Friday to you. I don't know what weekend plans you have, but Paris is beautiful on the weekends, I'm sure. So I'm sure you'll be having a good time.
Beautiful. I love how you pronounce Paris. It was perfect.
We're talking about podcasts today, Jad. What do you got for us?
I was on the plane, and you know, I had no Wi-Fi, no movies downloaded, and I was like, what can I do? And so I listened to podcasts for like 5 hours straight, and that made me think about the podcast that we have here at Trader TV, and I was like, wow, podcasts really are really a part of social media these days. You know, we have influencers, celebrities like, you know, the Kardashians and even Elon Musk that come up with their own podcast these days. So it really is a way to make the audience feel a lot closer to the brands. In this case, Trader TV or whatever the Kardashians are trying to sell, you know?
Yeah, Jad, I don't know, you know, exactly which podcast may interest you, but I love our podcast, which drops every Saturday at 10 a.m. It's always Sean, it's always Brendo. They're always talking about the hottest market topics, but, you know, there's a lot of other ones out there. Which ones have you been listening to lately?
Definitely. I've been listening to a lot of French podcasts, so probably the users will not be familiar with any of the names, but you know, like just lifestyle or even like just honestly just sport, nutrition, food, random stuff, honestly, and even politics. It's been really educating.
And the thing I love about podcasts the most, I don't know how you feel, but I don't like the little, you know, 5-minute segments on regular linear television. You don't really get all the information that you need to be able to make informed decisions from those little, quick exchanges. On the podcast, you get that long form. You can discuss things in depth and really get an understanding about them. So that's why I've kind of shifted my focus more to listening to podcasts rather than watching linear television. I don't know if you've had the same experience.
No, absolutely. A podcast just feels more like a discussion. It's almost like, you're in there with them, rather than, just a TV sort of announcement. It feels kind of dry, whereas a podcast is just like, it feels comfortable, at least.
Katina, man, what do you have on the podcast coming up today? Should we give a little quick segment?
A little hint.
He's going to be talking crypto, which is, look, Jad, I'm going to the gym and I'm listening to the personal trainers at my gym check crypto every 5 minutes when they're trading clients, right? So I think there's a lot of demand right now for crypto talk. I don't know if that's been something you've been listening to as well.
Definitely on my list. I'll put it on my list.
Love it. All right, Jad, thank you so much for coming on. I hope you have a fantastic weekend and I hope the weather holds up there in Paris.
Thank you. You as well. Bye-bye.
Take care. The best social media team on the net, baby. But I saw a position, but now it's gone. Well, so is that a beak wetter or is that a stop?
It's a positive out.
There we go. At least one of us can get a positive out on the day.
Don't say it. I'm
actually in a good mood.
Okay,
I'm trolling myself.
No, I figured because I can usually tell when you're in it's in a self-troll type of mood. But yeah, no, I did have some negative trades earlier today, and I did brush the dirt off my shoulders. Shout out to Jay-Z and trying to find some other opportunities. Like I said, though, I actually did have a bad out initially on this AMD. It did not go well. Then, of course, it goes right back up. And I say, you know what, Adara, if you still believe in this range, trade it the other direction. So I took it short. Please just punch. About 25 paper penny winners. So we're in that dime club.
There you go.
Also, there's a super chat from Kyle Burdett.
Oh, Big Kyle.
Yeah.
There it is. Big Kyle packed in his trades for the week early, took the risk off the table intraday with a heck of a week and enjoying the day. Got some swing shorts on Google, SPY, and AMD. Damp it. Woo! Damp. Shout out to Big Kyle Burdett. Happy for you, my man. All right, so it looks like your weekend starts early. Lucky you. We'll hopefully catch up with you later, Kyle. Hope you enjoy your weekend, my man. And thank you very much for that $5 super chat. David Fabian, Sharif, I appreciate the honesty of having a bad day. Thanks. Having a rough day too. A little dejected. Small motivational speech would be beneficial, my man. Look, if this is going to be something that you want to do for the long term, or at least try to use it to supplement your income, there's going to be a lot of, wanting to pull out your hair days, wanting to throw something at the wall days, but that's just part of the process. Find what helps you get balance. Again, if you got to do a walk like the Katina man, you got to put on your headphones like the Neil, or whatever helps you. Find your method there and try to have another day, and make sure to practice good risk management skills, because you want to be here tomorrow to trade again, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day. I hope you kill it, my man, and just take that quick walk, cool down, do whatever you got to do. Drink that cold bottle of water, which really helps me. Shout out to David Fabian. Thank you for that. Jay Lee, bringing up GRPN. You think it's a long here. Let's pull up GRPN. Groupon. Oh, wow. Yeah, I haven't seen that in a minute, to be honest with you. Let's pull up that bad boy for Jay Lee. So Groupon. Geez Louise, that is a tough look. All right. First of all, let's start off with the daily. Right? So it's not a bad daily. Look, it's coming from bad at the highs of the pandemic, but you could see this on so many different charts, okay? So now, looks like we've been making a decent move since May of last year. For whatever reason, it looked like we bottomed in last May. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure specifics about the company. But since last May to the highs that we printed a couple of days ago, we're up, excuse me? 600% from last May. Yes, not from today. Today we dropped big to 12.95, but the high that we put in prior to that, it was up 600%, 596% from the lows in May to the highs that we just made a couple of days ago. Obviously, we gave up a lot of that. We put up a $20 high there, and today we're trading below 13. We got a 12.95 low. So this is clearly something earnings related.
And it is.
Is it? Yeah, thank you, Adara.
We're on the earnings board.
So here it is. Groupon shares are trading lower following Q4 financial results. The stock initially gained following the report, but has since reversed. I'm not sure if that was as a result of the call or what it was, but there we go. This is GRPN stock, and I guess Jay wants to know where we could find some support because, well, we printed $20 at its high in the pre today at 7:20 a.m. and now we're talking about holding $13. So that's a hell of a move, man. And that from top to bottom today, we're down 35% within one day. That's a tough look right there. So let's zoom out over here and find out where we could find some support. All right, so this is the hourly chart, excuse me. So right now we're holding 13, but is there anything really on the hourly to kind of justify the holdup over here? Not really. Not that I'm seeing anyway. So a key level of support, I would have said 14.5, owing to this top over here and that top over there. The low end of that range that we ranged in late January was 13.25. Excuse me. So we could see a reversion above 13.25 to hold that general area. Below that, there's not much. Guys, I mean 11.5, 11.25. That takes us back to mid-January levels, right? Other than that, we don't really have another discernible area where we can say, okay, well, that looks like a good area of support. So I'm going to have to say, let's see if we break and hold below that $13 level. But thank you for bringing this to my attention. What a move down for Groupon. It looks like there was a lot of buying into earnings in anticipation that earnings would come out different. And it was definitely get at a dodge event there on Groupon. Tough luck. Don't know anything about why it sold off with respect to earnings. We'll have to dig a little deeper into that, Adara. But looking at some of these Mag 7 names, not a whole lot has changed over here. Oh, Apple attempted a 171.50 touch, and now it's back into that 30 area. But it's putting in a bit of a topping tail candle over here. That's not what you want to see on Apple. Oh. So let's keep eyes on this one. See if it can make its way back, mean revert possibly into that high a day 172.48.
The move down might be nice for you, though, because I know you do want your dip buys, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we've wet our beak enough on Apple's Tesla that I'm looking at adding a little bit more on. We got more Tesla yesterday on the 160 touch.
I think you would have, yeah.
I did, yep.
Yeah, I remember yesterday I was like doing some notes, and then Sean sends me a message, Tesla 160, and I was like, this is crazy. And I was like, when I started, it was 260. So that was a little back and forth with Sean and I yesterday. Check out the podcast tomorrow. No spoilers, but there will be a revisiting of an earlier discussion and an earlier call made on the podcast. Okay. So putting together some notes for that. Very excited to watch, as I do every week. But right now, another thing you're going to watch is the lesson of the day.
Perfect.
We tried on that transition.
I love it.
Let's go.
All right, so guys, we are talking about volatility all week. Today is the last day in that volatility kind of lesson segment. Today we're talking about backtesting during volatile markets, and I would suggest to you that backtesting is probably the most important to do during volatile markets because you have the most amount to lose during great periods of volatility, but it's important in all different markets. Just, I would say, a bit more important during volatility. All right, so why backtest, right? So the first and foremost reason is you uncover your strategy's weakness, right? So volatile markets have this way of exposing flaws in strategies that might work better during calmer periods, right? So backtesting helps identify these weaknesses before you actually risk real capital, and also gives you an opportunity to optimize your risk management, right? So you can test different stop loss levels. You can test different position sizes. You can even test different risk to reward ratios, R&Rs, right? To see how your strategy performs under those different conditions. A lot of different variables there. We talked about size, we talked about stop loss levels, risk to reward ratios. So make sure you're trying to get all those different variables, a good back testing before you actually use them in real life, in IRL. So adapting your back testing approach is important. So the first thing you really need to do is make sure that the source of your data is high quality. And I'll give you an example. I don't mean to disparage any one website, but there was a website, went by the name, I think it's shut down now, floatchecker.com. Essentially, if you wanted to know what the float and what the short float of a name was, you didn't have that information, you could go to that website and it would give you like 4 or 5 different sources, right? It'll tell you TD Ameritrade says this website says that, right? And a lot of the times, there was variances between what one source said and what the other said. So what I would suggest to you is ante up some money, pay for the data if you're going to actually look to rely on the data to make money. So ensure your backtesting data covers a variety of different market conditions and include periods of both high and low volatility. You want to see how your strategy holds up in different market conditions. And incorporate volatility measures within your backtesting. Specifically, I'm talking about average true range, ATR, or a historical volatility data alongside your price data. So ATR, in case you're newer to trading, it stands for average true range. Essentially what it is, it takes 14 different trading days and it looks at, okay, what was the range for NVIDIA over the last 14 trading days? And anybody who's seen NVIDIA knows it's an awfully volatile stock. So NVIDIA's ATR is likely to be much higher than Apple's or a Google's, even though they've been moving lately. And so the reason that that's important because it factors into so many different decisions. How much size you take, how much space you give it for a stop, right? Remember, you hear me talk a lot about the average range per candle, right? And if the average range per candle is really high, that has to influence where you place your stop. You can't have tight stops with very rangy stocks. It also includes what your R&R is. So make sure you are incorporating volatility and average true range. It also helps analyze how your strategy performs in different volatility environments. By that I mean, there's not only one type of volatility. The market may have a different flavor to it if it's long volatile or if it's short volatile. I mean, it's not always the same thing. So try to test out your strategy in different environments if you can, both bull and bear, high and low, if your platform allows you. And stress test your strategy, right? You want to artificially increase the volatility within your backtesting software if it allows you to see how your strategy reacts to extreme market swings. This also helps identify the potential breaking points of your strategy. And by that I mean, oh no, that's the next one. Also analyze the walk forward optimization. It's a bit of a mouthful there, but this technique really talks about in backtesting your strategy on smaller chunks of data sequentially mimicking real-time application. What does that mean? So all volatility periods are not created equal. Just because we're in a volatile market doesn't mean my strategy will work the same way between 9:30 to 10:30 right after the bell that it will from 11 to 2. It's just a different market at the open. There's a lot of buy or sell on market open orders that are coming in that are causing upswings and downswings. And oftentimes the price doesn't hang out in one area for too long. So you need to make sure that the strategy you're employing is not just suitable for the market that we're trading in, but suitable for the time slot in which you're trading. So that is also important. This also helps avoid overfitting your strategy to historical data, which can lead to unrealistic performance expectations. Again, the time slot, the day, the market, that all factors very important into how you test your strategy. And consider the transaction costs involved with taking your strategy. So a lot of the times, you're going to have to factor in commissions, the spreads, right? If you're trading Lily, you need to make sure you're factoring in the huge spread between the buy and the ask. Other fees, if you're short inclined, like big caliber debt, you got to be borrowing these shorts if they're not free from your broker. That's going to cost you some money, right? Here at Real Trading, we get them in chunks of 100. So say I want to short VERB, I'm just giving you a random example. That might cost me 89 cents, $1.25 per 100 shares, right? So if you're a big time trader, you're trading several thousand shares, you need to be able to factor the cost of borrowing those shares into your P&L, okay? So that's very important as well. And this also, by doing this, it helps provide a more realistic expectation, a more realistic picture as to what the potential profitability for your strategy will be. And so you're just being honest with yourself there, right? And then Adara added this slide in, and I have to thank Adara for adding this in because it's absolutely accurate. Here are some similar strategies to backtesting. The act of testing a strategy against a specific hypothetical market condition or a black swan event, which you heard Neil talk about today on his lesson of the day. For example, seeing how healthcare stocks might perform during a global health crisis. Again, the lesson that I gave, the example that I gave earlier was go and look at what Moderna was doing during 2020, 2021, even parts of 2022. And you can understand exactly what I mean by, these outlying events with respect to healthcare stocks, right? And forward performance. Make sure to analyze that as well. Applying a trading strategy to the current market without risking your capital, i.e. sim trading, paper trading, or whatever you want to call it. TMS is what we call it here on the floor. Very important as well because it shows whether you can actually execute the strategy. It's not just in theory now. Now you're actually getting in practice, which is super important. So that's really it, but I just want to leave you guys with some food for thought. Backtesting is a simulation. It is not a crystal ball. The past performance of your strategy in the backtesting software doesn't guarantee future results. However, by incorporating volatility in your backtesting, you gain valuable insights as how your strategy will do during these more volatile times, Adira.
Yeah, I think one thing too I really want to say with regards to sim trading, obviously I'm a bit biased as I am currently trading in the sim, but I do think it actually really helps because it lets you try different types of strategies. This week I have to say, I'm like, we're in a more volatile market because we're talking about volatility this week. And I have to say, I actually feel pretty pleased as punch with how the trading's been because I've been able to be in the sim and test, a new hyper-specific strategy, which I'm calling my micro ranges. And I have the opportunity to do this because I'm on the sim, right? And because you're able to take some more risks, you're able to try some new things. So as someone who came to real trading with no trading background, I have to say, I think it's invaluable. And I think whatever platform you use, I do think there is definitely, I agree with what Sharif has to say with regards to how it can really help to be trading in LaSim.
Yes,
so that's, I honestly really want to echo that. Also, I like that you brought up the Eli Lilly spread there.
Well, because it's so spready, right?
That is true.
We could have said something else. What else is spready? There's like so
Adobe,
many. Adobe, yeah.
SMCI.
There you go. So
but I'm not mad that you're bringing up Lilly. Believe me, she's my girl.
Yeah. It's just the first thing that came to mind, I guess, because you trade her a lot, right? Well, you haven't been lately, though.
Well, yeah, because I feel like risk management-wise, Eli Lilly and I were not besties. And that's not to say that every trade I had in Lilly was an L, because it wasn't. Like, there were times I was able to trade this name well, but the issue was that I was just not planning it out very well. So I'm giving her some space. We're not breaking up. We're just taking a break. You know what I mean? Like, she's going away to college, so we're going to let her do her thing. No, I'm joking. But that was a really weird analogy. But I'm going to give this stock some time to breathe. I'm going to let myself, not trade this name for a while, just to kind of get a little bit comfortable with other things. Alan Trade saying Lily's real spready, and that sums it up very well. It's a hard name to trade. Although I am happy, again, another example being in the sim. Being in the sim allows me to trade this name and to try trading it. Do you know what I mean? Right now, 40 penny spread, volume under a milli, so no Lily for me. We're not going to get a Philly in Lily if she's under a milli, so that's what's going to happen there. Amy T, thank you very much. You rock. Always very happy to be here. Hog Rider was asking about an NVIDIA bull flag. I have to say, I don't really see it. I'm pretty sure my NVIDIA chart, so my NVIDIA chart still isn't going to be 100%. Let's try the NVDL. Thank you, Sherry, for reminding me about this.
No worries.
Here's why I don't think NVIDIA is a bull flag. I know I said earlier there was some kind of potential look for a bull flag here, but that was before we continued to make these lower highs, lower lows. It also, for a while, was looking a bit flat bottom breaky. We had that, now on NVIDIA, I think it's it was the 888 level, but so very lucky, as Sharif will always say, those double eights. But NVIDIA, NVDL, we have that 40-50 area where we had these lower highs leading up to it. Then we broke below. Now we're curling up, but we still haven't made a higher high. So I'm sorry, I can't show the exact chart because, like I said, for whatever reason, P-Pro 8 and NVIDIA are not besties right now for me, but it is besties with the NVDL. And for me right now, until we make a higher high, I'm not really sure I have a full bull case for NVIDIA. I think she's just trying to figure out what she wants to be right now. Tom H saying, don't let the market down. I'll try my best. Also, I have to say, I'm really proud of this AMD trade, if I may. So I took this short here at 192.50s. The goal initially was to take some of this out at 192s. Then we weren't able to get there, so I said, let's take 192.30 130s. We basically had to end up continuing making this line lower. We ended up getting it at 192 4 days, and I did add some as well. We continued to do well at 195. So we only took about 50 pennies, but we still were able to stay in that scalp. We were able to scalpulate and make it out. AMD I find to be a really stressful one to trade because it does like to move with a viciousness, and it will change directions like that. So I know there's a lot of people here who trade this name regularly. Sean, trading this name regularly. Neil, I know some people in the chat as well. Joanna Brewster, I believe, pretty frequently engaged in AMD. But yeah, this one I do find to be a really hard name to trade, so I'm proud I was just able to take my scalps. A couple losses, mostly W's. Going to keep an eye on this to kind of see how we go. And really, I just think, yeah, part of it too is like when I have a loss in a name, if I see a reason to get back in to try to take a W, I'd like to do that, right? Because it kind of just trying to learn and grow.
Yeah, I'm in Verb right now at 73 pennies. Jay Lee's like, well, I'm surprised you took this. It looks like a Huadunk. My line in the sand is going to be the break of this 70 area. So we'll try it, small size, just to keep things interesting and trade on the show so that, you know, we're active. We got to do something while we're on here. So we'll see if this one can break up and hold this higher low and possibly make a higher high through that 81 penny area. To me, it's, you know, we're just going to participate in this name. Let's check out to see what we can get from it. The other one that I want to start looking at is Apple, right? So now Apple is kind of doing a real nice range trade here between 171 and this 171.50. So since we're on our way into 171, let's get long here a little bit and put that line in the sand below 171. So I'm going to be looking for a hold up at this level over here. If we don't, then, well, that's fine. We'll see what we can get with something else. Small size. I'm going to be taking small size all afternoon because, well, it has not been a best trading day for me. So we'll have to see if we can get a hold up here on Apple. Multiple topping tail candles. But as I watch the future, man, the future looks like it's headed back down now. It cannot hold up above this 20 period moving averages. I'm talking about the NQ June contract. It's, you know, at the best, it's making its way up into the 20 period. You know, but for the majority of the time, it's really holding up at the 10 period moving average. So, you know, we're really not getting any direction one way or another at the moment, Adara, whether on the future or on any of these Mag 7 names.
Yeah, it's a bit of a lag 7 today. I did not come up with that one myself. I know Raider Trader, who was on Sean's market recap show, check that out, but not today because they're filming the podcast. But usually you can check that out. But no, I believe Raider Trader was saying lag 7, which is one I like. Not all of them are lagging, mind you, but there are certainly some members of that group, Tesla, or you know, Apple a little bit right now that are struggling.
Oh yeah.
Also, someone in the chat was saying Elof earlier. He's been Elof lately, like instead of Elon, it's Elof.
Okay.
I mean, you know, he did kind of almost single-handedly cause a run-up in Doge yesterday, so I do think he's still kind of active. And why I say that is talking about this on the crypto update earlier today. I guess he was saying that he Doge to the moon. Oh, that was fun.
What's going on?
He was saying Doge to the moon, and I'm not like, I don't, maybe not single-handedly, but there was a move in Doge after that to the upside. So it was just interesting to think. I don't think he's fully Elof, but I would say maybe he's like Elajar, like there's like slightly door open there.
That's fine.
Like, no. But I mean, everyone has their moments, and they did have that SpaceX moment yesterday.
Right.
So I just thought the Elof pun was really funny.
I felt really bad about that, man.
It was scary.
Yeah, I mean, look, it wasn't. I wouldn't say it's scary, but because there was nobody on it. Obviously, somebody on it would be a different story. It's just, you know, I was telling Neil, I'm like, okay, imagine you're the astronaut that has to go on Starship after it's blown up umpteen amount of times. But Neil brought up a good point. He's like, this is how it works. Even the Apollo missions. They had a huge fire when they were actually practicing on Earth. I'm not talking about the actual Apollo mission that had trouble in space. I'm talking about the actual buildup. So, you know, that's just kind of part of how the whole process goes. But I don't know, man. I just have that in the back of my mind all the time. Anyway, so it's a bit of a tough look, but that is a learning curve we have to deal with right now.
That's a good point.
You know, it comes to space. Space is flat. It really isn't, bro. It really is. Space is fake. Okay, sure. If you go to sleep at night better knowing or believing that space is fake, have at it. It doesn't really not matter to me. Guys, in VRB, Looking for my first beak wetter
like
at
that.
78 or 79. The reason I like it, Adair, is because it put in a higher low. That's the only reason here. So we'll see if this one can actually manifest. Apple is the gift that never gives. So this one is on its way back down, sadly, into my entry after popping up a little bit. So I'm going to have to send it to you. Just put in my stops.
Just the way you said the gift that never gives was so sad. I know you were like, oh, like we're all in a good mood, but the gift that never.
No,
like,
I'm in a
the
good mood today.
delivery
I'm
of
in
that
a
was
good
amazing.
mood. I'm in a good
It's
mood.
almost. I know. I just thought that was really funny the way you said it. It's almost as good as the delivery earlier, which I forgot when you were just completely dead saying, "Oh, Papa Powell dropping hot lines." Like, I can't even do it. Just the straight faceness with which that was said. I had to shout that out. So I just remembered that.
Alas.
Alas. NVDL, it was an NVDL for me, let's put it that way. We did lose on this trade, but not too much. Basically, I was looking for these lower highs. We made a higher high. I said bye-bye. Then, of course, it goes back to the downside. That's okay. Frank Poso saying NVIDIA giving you another chance. You did call that. There's a move to the downside on NVDA, sort of reflected in NVDL. As I mentioned earlier, for whatever reason, my NVIDIA chart is it's doing its thing. But yeah, I mean, I do agree that that move off that 891 is interesting. I want to watch what we do at 888 because that was, you can even see on this chart that 888 was certainly an area where we had some traction, where we had some interest, where there's some kind of magnetism, as Obi said. So when talking about levels that are sometimes magnetic for whatever reason, also kind of coinciding with VWAP right now, that 888. So I'm going to have to keep an eye on that. Also, Monty G saying L dormant instead of L on or L off. So I enjoy that. Thank you very much. But yeah, I think that this NVIDIA is interesting. Oh, SU talking about the AMD short. Yeah, wow, this is, whew. This one's been bamboozling. We had that curl up here. Now we have that little move down. It could maybe be a cup and handle, but I don't want to make any assumptions yet. There's no handle right now. There's just a curve up and a rejection off that pseudo double top. Not even pseudo, it's basically a double top around that 193 area. Congrats to anybody who got that, because what a move. Lots of discussions of SoundHound. So let's talk about sound. Someone earlier was calling this MinVidya because it's like the baby NVIDIA. It's been, NVIDIA did have an investment in this one as well, so it's a fair name. Yeah, let's talk about levels in SoundHound. Let's zoom out. Hounds weren't super released today. We do have 56 million, 56.8 million volume here, so that's massive. But yeah, certainly a little bit of support here, bouncing off earlier off that 825 area. Another little bounce, chop and churn. We come back, we dip below, we bounce once more. So 825 to me, some of the clearest local support. Then we get down here, lots of chop and churn around that 775 area, which I kind of think is interesting. We hit that low of 760, we bounce right back up. Areas in terms of resistance and support other than that 825, it'd be nice if we made a higher high above that 875. That would be, you know, that would kind of show continued momentum. But this name, as hinted by the term MinVidya, has been incredibly strong. And yeah, whoever said MinVidya, if you're here, put it in the chat, because that was a great one earlier, and I forgot to shout you out earlier. Shane D may be the one who said MinVidya, but yeah, like certainly SoundHound is its own little baby NVIDIA. We had this calm kind of move, then we push up, some chop and churn, we continue our push up. Also look at these areas of chop and churn, identical almost, around that 375 area, continuing to push to the upside. Still kind of seeing where we're kind of seeing these pauses in the rally were earlier areas of resistance. So I think that's certainly something to note. General, though, all upside for SoundHound. If you're involved in this name, it's a great look. I would say, though, it'd be nice to break that higher high of 875 to show continued move in this rally. And this rejection here could get a little bit spicy. The hounds could be howling extra hard right now over on this trade. I know you were involved in this one before as well.
Which
SoundHound.
one?
SoundHound.
Not
today.
Not today. Yeah, last week. We got stopped at Apple. So yet again, you know, Apple takes but doesn't give. We had to get out 171, but it's still putting in higher lows. So, you know, who knows what we could get from this. All right, we just printed a newer low right now on the future. So I'm going to have to keep my eye on that VERB trade. All right, so this one's popping up. Looks like I'm going to get, hopefully here, printed. If we can just bump up a little bit more. No, okay, so I guess not. So we'll have to, you know, pack our patience. I'm looking at getting printed at 79s or thereabouts, but it looks like we're being held up at that level by a hidden seller because there's just not enough size there on the book to warrant this rejection of the level. So we'll see if we can, there we go, we get the print. So we'll see how high we can get up here on VERB. I'm still holding a piece. Let's see if we can break through 80. 80 is going to be the line that I look for there. You know, I wouldn't even mind getting caught in a halt up, to be quite honest with you here, because this one, if it can break above that 80 level, I'm talking about 80 pennies, then it can show the higher high. And I like that trend, a higher low and a higher high to break through possibly a 90. A lot of tug and war happening right now between buyers and sellers at this level. As you can see, usually when that war starts to take place, because the tape and the book start to really heat up. They start to move a lot quicker. So you can tell the volatility is starting to come in. You don't even need to look at the volume bar. You can just see it on the tape and on the book. So watching here to see if we can get a print above 80. I've de-risked nicely off that print at 79s, but you know that's not what we're looking for at these levels. All right, so the other thing that I was just talking about there that I had to digress from was the future. And we got right into that low of day. We have a new low day right now, 18,015 on the NQ June contract. That broke the 22s that we had earlier. So now we're going to be keeping an eye on 18,000. 18,000 could be very interesting as a bounce play if it holds up at that level. But like I said last time, you may not get that exact hold. So keep your eye on that level and practice sound risk management skills at that level. Otherwise, you know, you could find yourself getting really cut up. So keeping an eye on VERB and keeping an eye on the future.
Yeah, no, that nice look on that VERB, little beak letters along the way. Yeah, no, I think also you're mentioning halts, and I do have to address, if anyone hasn't seen this, Sharif has the strangest luck with these small cap halts. There was that EVAX where you got like literally the best print and then it halted to the downside. Like, I don't know what it is. That. You and the halts have some kind of like beautiful karmic friendship.
To be honest with you, I don't even like to trade the halt ones. I think that was just a one-off event. I gotta tell you the truth.
No,
like, I got lucky
I'm
with
just
that
saying
one.
that, but that's what I'm saying is you always get, it's always the halts. Like you'll get out and then the small cap will do whatever it does.
Yeah.
You have good karma with the small caps.
Yeah. I try. I try. I'm nice to them. I get them presents on birthdays.
Well, there we go. Of course,
Christmas presents and stuff. You know, I bring them apple fritters when they're down.
I'm sure Neil's like, where's my apple fritters? I think it's a small cap, but not for me.
The Katina man was not pleased that I brought Neil an apple fritter and didn't bring him one yesterday. I had to hear about that. Shout out to the Katina man. Oh, okay, Ram. All right. Next time, $10 Starbucks for Ram. You just need to lose a lot of money at 7:30 a.m. and, you know, right away. Right away, coming for you, Ram. Keeping an eye on 170 now, possibly here on Apple, as we really break down a lot from that VWAP level there.
Yeah, the range trader in me is very stressed out by this market. There's no levels. The levels are just falling. The only one that's sort of holding levels is AMD. I can't even think of a good AMD pun right now because, we kind of got AM destroyed. I keep using that one, but we really did off that 193 double top rejection. But we are still seeing slightly higher lows. I need to wait for another candle to close to really confirm this because I'm not tangling with AMD. Someone called AMD a widowmaker in the chat, and I actually don't disagree because I do find you can get involved in this one and immediately go the other way, right? But this one I find if you are prepared to kind of scalp out the small movements, it can be a fun trade. All my trades in this one earlier were just teeny tiny baby scalps. But even with that in mind, if I don't have a point of entry and if I don't have a stop, what the heck am I doing here? So I don't want to get involved until it gives me a little bit more wiggle room, a little bit more levels. If we settle into a groove, if it finds its footing, then I think there is something that could potentially be happening here because I do have all these levels I liked previously, namely 192, 192.50, 192.70, but I just don't have, right now I need to let it kind of sort out and get into a steady gait, a steady trot before I try to tango with this guy. So we're gonna have to wait on that. Tesla, lower, I just typed Twesla with a W, so good times. You can tell it's a Friday. TSLA, I like that we're generally kind of seeing this chop and turn and then a move lower. I'm waiting for a good point of entry here. Again, I want confirmation. Sorry I'm not in a trade here. I really do want to be in a trade, but I also don't want to be punching in all willy-nilly because then what's the point, right? So if I see something I like, I will get involved. If I don't, I will not. The other thing with Tesla, though, that has me not wanting to go short quite just yet is look at this chop and turn. I think could maybe go either way. We've been here for like a good, almost 15 minutes. I can't believe it's almost 1 p.m.
It's ridiculous.
But yeah, so I really need to kind of wait before I get involved in Tesla. But I've had lots of fun eating these chips and dips though today. We had some NVIDIA trades, we had some AMD trades. Also shout out to Obi for the chips with the dip thing. I can take no credit for that. But that is, yeah, it's a fun moniker. And I think certainly that's been kind of the fun play today. This AMD, if we keep holding this 191.50 this well, I might have to you know, AM dance with danger on this one. So we're gonna have to wait and see. Also, I know some people were mentioning as well SMH. So let's look at SMH, because I think if I'm gonna keep trading these chip names, why am I not trying SMH? This one a little bit hard to read, but I do think, you know, there's some kind of curl maybe happening here. We made this move down into that beautiful VWAP bounce off 218, and look, that's also coming into that previous area of a little bit of resistance. So resistance becoming support. One of the big first things I learned when I started sitting at this desk here on how to trade, formerly known as the Midday Show. And that's one of the first things I learned is resistance becoming support can be beautiful. And to me, this is a beautiful look. I think SMH might have to boot off one of these guys on my side chart, and I might have to keep looking at this because I like these levels. Rossi So Saucy, I love that name. And thank you very much for your $5 super chat. Could you look at LALAP, LLAP, possible golden cross, mid-April, possible cup and handle? Thanks. Let me look at, I don't have my EMAs for the golden cross up, I'm gonna be really honest, but I can look at the levels for you. I am guessing you wanna look at this on the daily, so let's look at this on the daily or in a wider time frame. I see what you mean, okay, I do see what you mean about a possible cup and handle here, but we can't really make any assumptions until we see the fruition, right? Until we see it come to fruition, because what I'm seeing is, you know, honestly, beyond the pattern, like the main thing I'm seeing here is levels. This 125 is a crazy level for LLAP. Let me explain why. 120, it's, yeah, 120, 125. We have that bounce here, May 2023, or May 2023. We bounce, we come back, August 25th, 2023. We come down, we kind of have a little bit of chop and turn, move to the upside, and we find some resistance at, you guessed it, 125, right at the start of the new year. Then we come back down and we find again more chop and turn, more resistance at 125. So I can't say for sure this is going to be a pattern. I'm going to be really honest with you. I think this could just be a massive area of previous support becoming a massive area of current resistance. You know, I would say wait and kind of see if, I see what you mean about mid-April though, because if we're going to get that handle, that's when it would come. I do find that this is a $1 name, so there's usually a lot of other factors moving these guys around. They tend to move with a viciousness that makes it a little bit harder to chart them. They did have a positive catalyst yesterday. Tehran Orbital announcing their entrance into the small satellite. Okay, so good catalyst, good timing satellite-wise. Orbit with their small sat geo solution for satellites above 500 kilograms. Yeah, I think there's some catalysts here. I just think for me right now that 125 level is, to me, stronger than any potential cup and handle. That being said, if this is a cup and handle, we continue to move to the upside, I would be watching that 150 area for some resistance, because that was a previous area where we did have some resistance. And then also this kind of chop and turn around 170, then this 180 area. So I would, yeah, honestly, it kind of ends up being basically every 10-cent level, so 150, 160, 170. But yeah, I hope that's a helpful take on the chart. The main thing screaming at me is this 125 level. I think we need to break that before we do anything else.
All right, I'm eyeing the future, Dara, because we got to 18,006 1/4. So that's a low on the day right now, just very close to 18,000. And you know, I'm going to need to see proof that we're going to hold above 18,000. So I'm not going to put a resting order to defend the level. I need to see, you know, something to show me that we're going to curl back up off these levels. Right now, we're putting about 18,020 print right now on the future. Scott was telling me to look at UVXY. Scott, you're not the first one to type in that ticker today. A lot of people want to look at UVXY, but it's essentially it's an ultra. It's a VIX futures, right? ProShares Ultra VIX futures. And so it's having a great day. I'm personally just going to keep my eye on 18.2. So that's how I'm going to play, sorry, not 18.2, 18,000. That's how I'm going to play the futures. I'm all out of VERB. It's just kind of wasting my time looking at it. So got some profit on it. Now I'm going to focus on a different trade here with respect to the future. So we're going to be looking for an 18,000 defend. Just exactly how we're going to get in is going to be a little bit left up in the air at the moment, because I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to weasel my way in. I'm looking for key areas to hold. It's just been down and to the right all day, so I don't. Yeah, this is the tougher one. to get into here just because it's been down into the right all day. What are you guys looking at while I decide how I'm going to get into the futures? Christopher Holcomb, below the NVIDIA gap, up, open support, burn it down. Let's go minus 2% day at Kyle Burdett. Kyle's driving now. He's catching breezes, but he said he's still going to be listening to us as he chills out and enjoys an early start to his weekend. Shout out to Big Kyle. Let's have a look at NVDA. So you're saying below the NVIDIA gap up? Okay, so let's have a look. Let's see what we got here. So we didn't really gap up. I mean, the closing print at 8 p.m. yesterday, sorry, this is, yeah, at 8 p.m. was essentially 873, and we ended up opening up at 870. So I'm not sure what you mean, Chris. Let me know what you mean, because NVIDIA didn't gap up on the open. I think maybe where you're looking at is where it maybe opened up at 9:30 relative to where it closed off at 4:30, so we can remove regular market hours or after market hours. Let's see what we get here when we do that. Did it gap up? No, it gapped down, in fact. So the closing print yesterday on NVIDIA, 880. At 9:30, we opened at 869, so it's a gap down, if anything. Yeah. I typically don't exclude the pre-market data for the intraday look. I exclude it for the daily look just because I want to see the opening gaps and the closing gaps, if any, at those levels. So it's not typically what I do there. Let's see what else people are talking about here in the chat. Picky Eater looking at MCD short at 284. MCD, what is this? McDonald's.
Are we loving it?
Oh, because it had that negative headline today with respect to... What was the issue with McDonald's?
It was some kind of outage. I know also they were saying their China sales have been bad. But that could be said about a lot of companies. That was a couple days ago. Oh yeah, there was a global technology outage and they blamed a third-party provider, not their cybersecurity.
I see. I gotcha. Yeah, so with respect to MCD, it looks like the highest we had all day is 284. So what he's saying, looking at short at 284. Sure, so you're looking to defend or you're looking for the rejection of the high a day. Well, we're well off that high, my man, unless you're already short 284. Well, let's look at the daily to figure out where the key areas of resistance are. So on the daily chart, really, it's been the 300. That's been the super hard area to break. You'll recall this big, huge down move over here was the release of the, what is it called? The Bear Cave? The Bear Cave report on the GLPs. Basically, you know, having a really negative effect on snacks and sugary soft drinks, etc. And that's what precipitated that huge move. But look at that V-shaped recovery. The market, you know, basically saying, I don't know what they're saying. They're saying GLP-1s are not going to have an issue here. That's what the price action is implying. And this is, you'll recall, you saw that on Coke as well, but McDonald's fits into that narrative perfectly with the whole GLP-1s. So if you overlay McDonald's chart on Coke, you'll kind of see the same V-shaped move here. Anyway, to me, I would not guess 284. 284 is the high on the day today, but the better level on the daily chart is definitely that 300. So if it makes its way up to 300, that's an interesting short for me. So we'll see what we get there. What else are people talking about? Mahmoud, what's your take on Bitcoin short via BITI ETF? Well, I mean, personally, I think that we see higher prices on Bitcoin on the year, but if you're looking to short it on a swing basis, just look for key areas of support and resistance. Place your stop above the resistance level or thereabouts, and look to bamboozle a trade. I'm not gonna analyze Bitcoin. I've never traded Bitcoin, so I'm just gonna leave it at that. What are other people saying here? Forex AU, NYCB. What do you think? I'm not gonna look at New York Community Bank. It's not for me. What else we got? Christopher. Okay, so Christopher Holcomb talking the NVIDIA ER gap up on the NQ that has been support for a few weeks. Ash, what's your take on AMD now? Short? Let's have a look at AMD. Are you still, you're not an AMD, are you?
I got stopped.
No.
But I'm short Apple 50, 71.50.
The Katina man is short Apple 71.50, but he's no longer short Baba at 73.66.
That's all I'm more trading.
It's on More Trader TV. We know. There it is. There it is. Shout out to Ram. So let's look at AMD. So I wouldn't short AMD here unless you're looking to play the range. That's just my opinion. Yeah. Dara's like, yes. Here's why I say that. Number one, you had an excellent recovery there off that 184 or thereabouts low. We make our way back up to 193.5. Now you have a great range off which to work. You can literally say that 191 is the bottom end of that range, and essentially 194 and change is the top end. So I'd look to rinse and repeat on the range trade until you had a break above the key area or a break below. So that's the way I'd look to play it there. That's just me, though. Man, I'm missing these futures trades by talking up a storm. So I'm going to send it to you now.
Yeah, we're going to do the lesson in 2 seconds once we get once we leave AMD, because I am back in this. I have been involved in this all day. I love this range. It is beautiful. I need to stop waxing poetic about this range, but I have to say it's been a really fun range to play. In a market that hasn't been super rangy, I feel like AMD, as Shreve said, if you're looking to play the range, I don't know if there's a better stock today to kind of give you that. If anyone is seeing a better range trade, please let me know. And I don't mean that sarcastically. I know sometimes I accidentally say things sarcastically, but if there is actually a better range trade, I would love to hear about it. Basically, what I've kind of been doing here is just kind of shorting off the tops of 192.50. I know mine are a bit scalpier, so I'm not taking as much of a movement. We just took about 15 pennies on a pretty small scalp off that 192.50 failure. This, though, I have to say, this was one of the scariest ones. I did that 191.50 buy. Sean always says a scared trader is a deficient trader. Someone else earlier in the chat as well was saying, like, the scariest trades are sometimes the most important ones. And I had to say, Dara, look how well we held up that 191.50. I watched us fail that a couple times, and I said, just punch in, Adara. I punched in. My out was going to be that 191.20 area. We get to 191.25s, we bounce. I took off some of that 190.170. That was when we initially were kind of ranging more between 191.50, 191.70. So I was going to keep reloading. No time for reloads. We kept flying. I got out at 192s. So that's kind of the take on the AMD range. It's been pretty fun to play, I have to say. And honestly, it's not like I'm taking massive shares, massive profits. I honestly am just really invigorated by the opportunity to trade a name that is giving you such a range. And I always love interacting with these markets. So they give you some stuff to do, the more the better. But another way of interacting with markets is backtesting. And today we're going to talk about backtesting in volatile markets, or volatile, whatever you'd like to, how you don't really say that word. Backtesting can be a really valuable tool for evaluating trading strategies. But it can be especially important in volatile markets. And here's why and how to adapt your backtesting approach. So why does it matter more in volatile markets? Well, backtesting can help you uncover weakness in your strategies, because volatile markets will expose flaws in strategies that might work well in calmer periods. So if you think your strategy is going really well, and then you try it in volatility and you're getting chopped up, maybe this is just not the strategy for a volatile market. So maybe you have to rethink your strategy, go back to the drawing board, take a breath, and continue going on. So really it helps you realize these weaknesses before you go out and try the strategy in a really volatile market. It also helps you optimize your risk management, because you can test different stop loss levels, position sizes, and risk reward ratios to help see how your strategy performs under various volatility conditions. We've talked ad nauseum about stop losses throughout the entire How to Trade, but especially throughout this week on volatility. So really just making sure that you know how you're setting it and you're a little bit more prepared, a little bit more nimble, but also a little bit more protective of your shares when you're in these volatile markets. And make sure that you're using high quality historical data. So help ensure that your backtesting data covers a wide variety of market conditions. As Sharif says, there's not all of these backtesting software are built the same, right? No. So make sure you're using the best one for you that gives you the data you need. You also want to make sure that when you're backtesting, you're including periods of high and low volatility, so you can compare and you can be prepared for these more volatile markets. Here we go. You also want to talk about incorporating volatility measures. So include metrics like average true range, ATR. Sharif's mentioned this one a lot lately because it can be a really key one for volatile markets. Maybe you also want to look at historical volatility data alongside your price data, because it can help you analyze how your strategy performs in various different volatility environments. But now you want to stress test your strategy. So this will help you artificially, one way to do this is artificially increase volatility within your backtesting software to see how your strategy reacts to extreme market swings. So if there's, let's say say a massive move up. How is your strategy going to be prepared if you're in a short? You'll have to find out through backtesting. This can also help identify potential breaking points, potential areas that aren't working as well as you thought it did. It can expose some cracks in the facade that is your strategy, and it can help make you better, hopefully, when the real volatility comes and you're in the market. Analyze the walk-forward optimization. This technique will involve backtesting your strategy on smaller chunks of data sequentially to mimic real-time application. So as Sharif said, maybe you only trade the times that Sean and Neil are going to give you the big movements in the morning and the power hour. Maybe you want to try how your strategy works in the midday, although I guess that would be less volatility because sometimes we're more volatile. But maybe you want to try at 1 p.m. when you have auctions. Maybe that's what you want to try.
Bang.
See when you have auction times at 1 p.m. How is that going to work? Backtesting in motion. This also will help you avoid overfitting your strategy to historical data, because if you're saying, oh, well, this worked yesterday, so it's going to work today, that's not really the case, right? And doing this can lead to unrealistic performance expectations. Also, pamp it. Just a side note coming here from Sharif. Consider transaction costs too, right? You want to factor in trading commissions, spread, and other fees associated with your trades during backtesting, because this can provide a more realistic picture of the potential profitability of your strategy. And let's talk, oh, I was behind there. Let's talk about similar strategies as well. Scenario analysis or scenario analysis, whatever floats your boat. The act of testing a strategy against a specific hypothetical market condition or black swan event. Neil gave us a really somber, heartfelt lesson of the day that still included his awesome shades. And you can check that out because he really did, honestly, that was a huge thing to talk about. Sharif and I talked about, we witnessed that. And honestly, it shows like any trader can go through things in these volatile markets, right? So just make sure that you're prepared for these black swan events. And like one example here is you can see how healthcare stocks might have performed during a global healthcare crisis. That would be one example of a scenario analysis of a specific event. Another example I was thinking about when we did round 2 of the lesson is thinking about in the other way, how these Novo Nordisk, how these Lillies are reacting to the GLP-1, not a crisis, but certainly a specific event in our time.
Right.
Added extra volatility to these stocks. I started trading Lilly because there was a lot of volatility when all this GLP-1 stuff was first starting to happen, like November, when we kept getting these approvals, right? So I think that's one thing to note as well. Forward performance, also worth noting. You want to make sure you're applying in forward performance, applying a trading strategy to the current market without risking your capital. So paper trading, you're trading in the sim, something I have experience with that I think really does allow you to kind of relax a little bit more and figure out how, kind of get your emotions in check. It's kind of emotional training for the real world of the markets in the actual markets. Oh, and that's it here, but you have to remember that backtesting is a simulation, and it is not a crystal ball. Past performance, although we do have a magic 8 ball over here, past performance doesn't guarantee future results. However, by incorporating volatility into your backtesting, you can gain valuable insights into how your strategy might fare in the unpredictable world of day trading. I heard a pamp it, so I assume there's a story to tell.
No, not really.
Oh.
No. So let's just go on and see what we're looking at over here. We're still pumping a little bit above 18,000 on the future. We did do a quick rejection at 18,050. Let's see if we can get another trade into this one. It did have a little bit of a dance with the 20 period here. Gets a bit of a rejection, but we don't get that red candle immediately after that. So watching whether we or not we can take the 20 period on a closing basis. It's been tough to really get anything long today, but well, if we reject that level, we'll look for a short, maybe bit down into 18,000. Maybe we give up the ghost at 18,000 today. So watching how we trade at that 50-point level will be important as well. What else is there to discuss here? I tried to take a quick trade on Meta as it was curling back up, but the volatility on this name just a little too much. So with the day I've been having, just gonna stay away from it, to be quite honest with you. So we'll see what we get on META. Let's look at some of these small cap gappers. MindMed, it actually broke nicely above 9. So we were looking at that one earlier, doing the dance with that one above 9. At 9, it did this whole consolidation move, but then looks like at that noon hour, we got that move up on MNMD. We also did a bit of a dance with VERB, but now this one is putting in lower highs and looks like it's going to flat bottom break through 70. So be careful with this one. I ended up getting out of this one for a nice little profit there. But yeah, this one could have went the wrong way against me. If you can secure shorts on this, maybe wait for the break of VWAP. No, over here. the break of VWAP through 55 pennies on VERB. The other one that continues to go, and I kind of disparaged this one's name a little bit earlier because it lacked volume, VERI. This one's been holding this 7 period like a glove. The 10 period, which is the solid green line on my chart. If this one continues to move up, we could easily see $4 on the day on this one. So those are the ones that I'm looking at. Nothing really else that I'm looking at right now. Anurag, can you please discuss when we do cover our trades and when we do what? When do we scalp by taking small profits on the way? When do we cover our trades and when do we? Okay, so you're talking about holding the entire thing and then where to piece off? Just let me know if that's what you mean before I go on answering your question. The other one that I'm keeping eyes on is GERN. We had an interesting top over here at 350, and the reason I have this yellow line over here, which is an alert, is I wanted to know if it got into that area so that we could look to possibly take that pre-market high. It had definable pre-market high at around that 350, so we didn't get that print yet, so that one not working out. BLND, we thought maybe this one could be a nice VWAP hold high of daybreak, but it's since given up the ghost at VWAP, so nothing to do there other than possibly take this short. So keeping my eye on the future, keeping my eye on some of these names, seeing what we get.
Yeah, certainly you want to see what you get, because this market you get what you get and you don't get upset.
Yeah.
Especially with these markets, because you really don't care about your feelings. I love this Tesla look, but I don't have anything on it right now. Look, we come up to all these lines on my chart. I've been talking about this week about micro ranging, which is someone earlier was mentioning, how have you been feeling trading the micro ranges? And I hadn't really been thinking about it cognitively. I just like my small ranges. But then I was like, Adara, draw lines that work for you. Draw areas that you find interesting to trade for yourself. So that's what I've been doing. Look at this rejection at 161.90. That was an area we rejected, then found support, then rejected. Could we reject again? I want to wait for another candle of confirmation. But right now, I would say Tesla is certainly riding the struggle bus here at this 161.90. We're struggling with 162. Other areas I like here, 162.40. We had a lot of support there earlier, then a little bit of rejection and chop and turn around that 162.80s. 163.20 was kind of interesting, and then this area around this 163.40. So really tight ranges, just kind of trying to see what happens. We did break above right now, the 162, so not a short for me right now. If we find nice support though, I might go long there, right? So basically when I draw these ranges, it's not trying to, I'm really not trying to kind of have a direction. I'm just like, either way, this range is for me to play within. And that brings me to AMD, which I've had a lot of fun trading today. I was just kind of drawing these lines, but it's like, I'm willing to go either direction as long as it provides my confluence, right? And I'm not going to be clear just because I'm drawing the lines. I'm going because I'm waiting to see, we have some rejection, or we have some support here, right? It's just levels that I'm watching with regards to these lines. It's my version of, instead of setting an alert, I see what we do at my micro ranges. And when we hit the range and we bounce, or we hit the range and we reject, I get out. Also, I love Elon saying here, only Sean is scalping king. Indeed he is. I'll try, definitely a scalping peasant, still learning how to scalp, but trying to get a little bit better every single day. And I really do enjoy interacting with these markets today. It's given you a lot of opportunities. I lost on Amazon, lost on Tesla, and also NVDL, but we had some positive chip moves in AMD and NVIDIA, and right now up on the day, just trying to be pretty transparent and open about all of that. Let's look at NVDL again. NVDL has been pretty interesting. We are seeing kind of a bit of a curl. We went to initially kind of a bit of a flat bottom, 40.50, then we come down to 40.20, which is certainly an area of chop and turn earlier. Then we curl back up to 40.50. I think it could be a curl up, but I want to wait for more confirmation. Also, yes, sorry, I can't show my NVIDIA chart right now because my NVIDIA chart is in a little bit of a mood. She's like, it's a Friday, let me go home early, Adara. So NVIDIA chart's taking a little bit of a nap, so we're using the NVDL a little bit. Thank you very much, Elon, saying we're still learning from you guys, Adara and Sharif, every day. Yeah, thank you. Happy, I'm learning here every day as well, from everybody here in this community and everyone on the floor.
Bro.
How's it going?
It's driving me crazy, this thing. Anyway, it's fine. Vin Dong, what are your thoughts on NVIDIA call for NVIDIA's annual GTC AI conference? Look, I think that, it's kind of like an earnings play here. If you get long before, it's a 50-50 shot, right? The market may like what they hear. The market may not like what they hear. So, you go into earnings knowing that they could beat or they could miss. And it's just like flipping a coin, right? Obviously, you can try to put some things on your side. You could see what analysts are saying, what the general sentiment for that entire sector is. So you could do a little bit of homework here and there. But at the end of the day, it's a toss-up. The market likes what they hear. You'll see a pump up. If they don't, they won't. So I have no way of knowing exactly what Jensen and crew are going to announce. But if you look at the trend and you espouse the adage that the trend is your friend, well, NVIDIA is going to have an awesome 4 days, right? So we'll pack our patience to see what they announce. I'm assuming we're going to hear about some orders from some more hyperscalers. We know that Amazon's been buying, Google, Tesla, Microsoft has been buying. I want to hear about, is Apple buying? We haven't heard anything about Apple buying these GPUs to, train their LLMs on. Personally, that's what I want to hear because I'm invested in Apple stock, and we've been all waiting to hear that AI story. So I'll be kind of using it as a proxy to find out about some other names. But NVIDIA specifically, who knows what they're going to announce, right? Maybe they'll have more details on some China-specific GPUs. I'd be looking for details on that as well, simply because, well, we know that it was almost 20 to 25% of their revenue for GPUs that were being exported to China. Yeah, sure, they came up with a couple of variants here and there that are underpowered, but what's the demand, right? And now we know Huawei is getting involved as well in the GPU game over there, and there may be incentives to buy locally. So there's so many unanswered questions. Taking a guess as to what the answer to those questions will be a bit tough for me. So Apple is making their own chips. Good look long term. I know that they're doing their own CPUs, but I haven't heard anything about them making their own GPUs. We've heard about the M1, the M2, the M3. We've heard about them extend their contract with Qualcomm for their processors for their phones. But we really haven't heard anything about GPUs, Jay. So unless you heard something I didn't hear, let me know. NVIDIA broke out of the bear flag. No, it's still within the range. Apple is making their own stay-at-home data set. I haven't heard about anything Apple-specific making GPUs. If you guys could, apprise me on that, I'd love to know. But just I'd like real examples where I could look at it and research. Anyway, let's have a look at the future over here, because we got a nice big break through the future, through the 20 period on the futures contract over here, where we were kind of hanging out at the 50-point area. Now we've broken nicely above that and on our way into 2/3. In fact, we broke above 2/3. So you could say we're looking at 3/4. So we have the 100 point range with which to contend, and we also have the volume weighted average price at 125. So a couple of possible resistance levels there for the future if it continues to come up. But that was the first time it broke the 20 since essentially 10:45 this morning. Right before we got onto the show was the last time the NQ June contract was above the 20 period moving average. Let's see if maybe now it holds it as support. If it comes back down, which it looks like it's doing right now in the low 60s, does it end up holding up at 50, which is where the 20 period is pointing. So questions to be answered here, and possible trades to be had. Let's see exactly what we get on this futures trade today. Freddie the Friendly Guy, is that a head fake? I don't know what you mean. Did I move my head weird?
It means the futures are doing a head fake?
Oh, yeah, possibly. That's why we wait for 50 to come in to see if we hold up at the previous area of resistance, the previous area of resistance, previous area of resistance, now support. I'm talking about 18,050. I'll get it right, baby. AMD short, says Meher. Let's have a look at AM Dizzle. Well, it's like at 20 cents off day's highs. So yeah, you could be trying to get the top end of the range. This is what AMD looks like at the moment, right? It's been really rangy. We were talking about this one, 193.50. Yeah, you're not wrong, because I was talking about this being a range trade after that big move up. So this is an interesting area over here, right? If you're I would put my line in the sand at the break of the $0.50. If you're going to go short here, you risk up to 193.54, which is a high day, and then you look to bring it back into 191. So yeah, not a bad call out by you. Now the future coming right back down below 18,050. So let's see whether we get a nice hold up at this level, and whether AMD comes down like as the futures are doing right now. So let's see what we get on this trade today.
Yeah, my only thing with AMD that I would say, and I'm not, obviously I'm a new trader, I'm just saying as someone who was aggressively ranging AMD today, I would say maybe wait for your confirmation. So I got the bottom of this range on the way back up here, which was scary because you never know if a range is going to hold, right? In this case, it looks like you are correct with this AMD short. I just think, making sure you have that second candle of confirmation. For me, another area of AMD that has been a weird area of support resistance. There's been a strange magnetism there. Obi talked about the magnetic levels. AMD magnetic level 192.50. I don't know why. I don't know how. I don't know when. Well, I know today. It's been, the when is today. But AMD has been having this weird battle with 192.50 that I'd probably it'd be interesting to see what we do here. I think if we fail there, that's when I'll join the short. And if we support there, I might get in on the long. But as you can tell, I might have a little bit of a bias for this 192.50 area. We've taken a couple shorts off that area. Also, I'm involved in a trade right now. And we hopped into the Cybertruck, though not actually, because as Sharif said, no one has seen the interior, except for the people who own them. Yeah. But yeah, we're going to have to, I'd like to see this consistent 160-190 bounce. That would be a beautiful look to me, or for me. If we continue to bounce off this level, I might add to this position, but right now I'm happy with my size. It gives me enough to give some beak waters. We shall be getting out at this 162.30, so about 30 pennies. I'm happy with that. I'd be tickled pink. We're getting out if we break below that 160 area. So again, just using the ranges that I saw some previous areas of support and resistance to help not dictate my trades, but guide my trades, like mentor my trades. So there we go. Shout out to the Badger saying drove a Cybertruck yesterday, LOL. Congrats to you there. That is an awesome look. I do love the look of the Cybertruck, though I am a little bit, I love the Rivian more. I would say I was waxing poetic about those R2s. On the Thursday when we saw the R2 last week, I was like, eh. And then that night I was like staying up, I was like thinking about it. I was like, it's a nice car. It's a nice car. Shout out to the Rivian team over there. Also, RJ posted this really funny thing on Twitter of him with his sons at the Rivian launch, and the caption was something like, it was easier to show off the cars than to get these kids to pose for a photo. So I thought that was pretty cute as well. But yeah, shout out to Rivian. Let's actually look at Rivian, because I know someone was saying earlier Rivian below 11. Indeed it is. Wow, this was really rangy earlier too. I can't believe I missed that. 11:40 to 11:04 to 11:18, giving you some nice chop and churn. Continuing to move to the downside. No levels on this really for me. Lower highs, lower lows. Continuing trek to the downside. That's my take on this. Jose asking about Mara. So let's see. A lot of people yesterday in the show joking about marrying Mara. Do you want to marry Mara? I mean, today you actually might want to, because this has been a nice move to the upside on the announcement that they're buying that, I believe it was in Texas, Garden City campus for a net purchase of $87.3 million. Garden City, Texas, there we go. So yeah, this is a bit of a reject. I would be watching what we do here, because we seem to really not want to have that 1890 area. So I think that would be something worth noting. Love to see what we do at 1880, because that was certainly a previous area of resistance that could form support. But right now we have other things to discuss, like this futures trade.
We're sending you up to Sean.
Never mind. Sorry, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I thought Ram said in your. Oh, I didn't know you just said it to me, Ram. You got busy. Okay, so we're not sending it to Sean. Okay. All right, so in a futures trade, looking for that 50 hold at the moment. Not a whole lot is curling up to really help the futures propel up, but it's holding the 20 period. I've been dancing with this one, multiple ins, multiple outs. I'm not going to give it too much room, so if it does break below, I'll get out and then I'll look to get back in if I have to. So bit of a tougher trade at the moment on these futures, especially with all the fees that you have to pay for futures trades. Sorry, guys, I'm not going to be able to look at the chat. I'm going to have to focus on the trade, so at the moment I won't be taking any questions, but looking for that continued move up through the 75-point area on the future, but NVIDIA looking to point down, and if that's any indication as to where the futures are going, well, then we may have a bit of a harder time. But I do see the likes of Microsoft pointing up. I do see the likes of Meta as well starting to point up. Maybe Amazon as well, so that's not a bad look, but it's really NVIDIA right now that's awfully consolidated below the 890 area, and that's having, I think, a bit of a negative effect on the overall market, having trouble bouncing. So we'll keep eyes on this one, and we'll see what we can get from this trade. If we can get moving here into the three-quarter area, I'm talking about 18.075 or thereabouts. That's where we topped off last time on the 5-minute chart. So we'll see, especially if we can hold 18.050. That's kind of been my line.
Sorry, Sean preparing for the podcast there right now. Apologies to cut that off. He was waiting his notes.
I was looking at my screen, so cut me off all you want.
I'm sorry I was laughing there. Yeah, I'm just laughing at Sean's intense commitment to the podcast there. Please check it out tomorrow. It's such a fun watch. Love watching it every time. Sean will ask Brendan questions. They will chat. We will, find out what they're doing over the weekend. So it's always we heard about Sean's smoke detectors a couple podcasts ago, which is really entertaining. So definitely check that out. No market recap show tonight because podcast recording time. Just in time saying Tesla is looking supported pretty good. I sure hope so because I am in this Tesla long. I love this chop and churn here. Also, I love Sean DJing. What are you listening to, Sean? I don't think he can hear me. But great look there. I'm really excited to hear that podcast. Also, I would love to know what Sean's listening to. Instead of, what's Sean tweeting? What is Sean listening to? I guess we can find that out soon. So, Scott H, pardon? Listening to the podcast. That's what Sean's listening to, says Fabian. Sean Diddy saying, Scott H, yeah, no, good times there. Also, hopefully good times in the Cybertruck. I want to continue to see a move up here. AMD also threatening to break this range. We had this curl up here, this earlier area where we had some chop and churn, and this push back up, 192.95. Looks like we actually want to make a new high of day. High of day currently is 193.54. We're going to have to see what we do. I do feel like an auctioneer or a stocktioneer, as someone once said. Trey Starkey saying show trades. I don't have anything right now, unfortunately, except for this Tesla long. And looks like we might be heating up on that. We're going to get a part of this position at 162.30s, then saving a piece for the dream, which is going to be around that 162.60, 162.80 area. Sean saying, listening to some vultures, they catching me. So, really good times. Lots of fun here on this show. Hopefully this Tesla trade works. Waiting for some other opportunities here. And you know what I'm seeing that I like is this NVIDIA range. I did end up scaring myself out of taking this short at 890. I really should have taken it. Ended up being a little bit too spooked and I didn't. But we're curling back up at that 875. 887.75 quite nicely. I'm pleased as punch. I have to see what's happening here. I think I might get involved in this at this 888 area should we hold. Yes, I might be a little bit too late to the party, but better late than never, but never late is better, as Drake says. And hopefully this trade's going to be getting pretty fancy up in here. We're going to have to wait and see. But yeah, the NVIDIA looks nice. AMD still knocking on that door. And honestly, if AMD breaks, I would feel a little bit more confident about NVIDIA continuing to move up in this range. I do like this 888 area though. If we break below 887s, I am outie. So we're in this long. Let's see what happens. I don't love the size I have. It's not giant, but it's a little bit larger than I normally would take an NVIDIA. Tesla, though, not the TSA. We are not going to the airport. Tesla getting a nice push up here. Let's see what we do at 162.80s. Let's try to get out at 162.70s here. So much excitement in this market. So happy to be here. Someone earlier was saying, too, my voice sounds like Taylor Swift's, and I didn't know that, and I don't know how I feel about that.
I don't think so.
Taylor Swift, it's not my type of artist, but yeah, no, much appreciated there. Happy to be here. Let's see some trades.
All right, Tesla coming into volume-weighted average price, and it has been doing that all day with some rejections and some not. So right now, VWAP hanging out at 162.75 or thereabouts. So decisions to be made here on TSLA to see if we get that short at that level. What's up, Katina, man? What are you printing on now, baby?
Back to our desk, we long NVIDIA 887.
887 long NVDA. And so that's $1.50 in the money, baby, as that one holds that 50-period moving average quite well. And I hear some banging there, and I look behind me, and I see BPI. Apple, $1 in the money as well, short off that 171.50. You can see that bad boy up here. Again, off that 50 period. And if you know the Katina Man's charts, you know that he's got the 50 period and the 200 period. And that's a one hell of a short there on Apple at 17150. Great look there. Keeping an eye on this Tesla trade, because the reason I keep talking about Tesla at this level is because this is the closing print right here. So this 162.49 or 50, essentially, that's the closing print. We kind of held up at that level earlier. We were using it, as you can see, a lot of wicks through that level, but the closing prints north of it. So we're using it as a support level. So now do we get it as an area of resistance? We're already flat on Tesla on the day. It's been quite, zigzaggy, a little bit above, a little bit below, but we're right into that level right now. So if we're going to reject and use that level as a level of resistance, it should be coming up quite soon. So watching, see what we get here. Maybe we'll get a short on TSLA. But right now, oh, by the way, I got stopped out of that futures trade. It did break below 50, so we take another cut on the future. It's not really going, guys. I mean, well, not going right now. So having a tight stop on the future, not going to work at the moment unless you're really giving it some more room. And the thing is, you can always tell when the price becomes super consolidative because the moving averages get closer together, especially the more sensitive moving averages like the 20 and the 10. So they'll get very close together. But when the price action is super wide, more volatile, you'll see them spread apart. And so you can see over here, look how close the green line is to the yellow line, right? So it's becoming awfully consolidative at these levels. So we'll have to see what we get, whether we get a move back into 18.1 or 18.125, where the volume weighted average price is. But we'll keep eyes on Tesla and we'll keep eyes on the future at these levels because they're both at critical key point levels off which we can take trades.
Yeah, no, it's certainly lots to talk about in this market. I agree. I have the Qs up on my side chart here as well because I'm in 2 NQ long. So I was like, Adara, I think it's kind of how you have to do it. I'm in NVIDIA right now. I'm trying to get out part of this position 888.88 because what is life without whimsy? Also, I just wanted to part out before 889. I'm going to be really honest. But also, I know you said like double eights give luck. So hopefully 5 eighths will give a little bit of oomph to this trade. Not hope, because we don't know hopium here. No hopium around these parts. But I think that we have at least until 890. I want to take the position out by then, though, because I like to use the previous areas of resistance as like a buffer. Like, what Sharif was talking about with regards to stops, making sure you give your stops some wiggle room. I like to give my outs a little bit lower than the previous areas of support or resistance because I don't really trust how long these stocks can run. That's just kind of a guideline more than it is, an actual rule because support and resistance can always flip-flop. We had a pop-up in the Qs that got me out of the Cybertruck, so pretty happy with this. Just using these this area of that 162.80 to kind of get out. We took a little bit earlier at 162.40. So we're about flat on Tesla now after a bit of a rougher trade in that one earlier. NVIDIA, if you cannot reach 889, I think I'm going to have to get this piece out entirely. I have to say, NVIDIA, I don't want to talk down to you. Sharif was saying earlier that I'm talking nicely to the stocks, but girl, let's figure out what we want to do, okay?
Damn it.
I'm going to try to be nice.
I got you.
Pamp, hopefully Pamp. We'll have to see what happens here. I'm comfortable staying in the trade, though, because I think the range on this has been pretty nice. That being said, we're going to get the rest out of this at 50s because NVIDIA seems to not be responding to my polite requests to be calm. Because she's NVIDIA, so why not? I know once you said NVIDIA is like you have to... Be very careful, be very wise. There's a lot of bamboozlement in this. The bamboozlement is real. That was the phrase you used.
Yeah.
I was going to keep until I figured it out.
That's the one.
But that one describes NVIDIA so well. And so, yeah, happy with this trade. Happy I'm out. Could have saved a piece for the dream, but the dream was quickly becoming a nightmare. So there we go. Out of the Tesla as well, looking for some new opportunities. I agree. I was just going to say Tesla short looks nice.
Well, I'm just taking it off VWAP, so we're going to try to take a scalp here. If it rejects VWAP, we'll look to profit a little bit off this one. Not big size, just trying to get the reps in. Still a tough day for me. It's been a tough week, but that's fine. I'm going to still show up every day and get the reps in, and that's just the way it's going to be. So we'll see exactly what we get here on this Tesla trade, but we are at the volume weighted average price. We're also at yesterday's closing print, but if it gets too much higher, I'm just going to draw the line in the sand, and then I'll just get back in if I have to again, and that's fine. It's like a little paper cut, small size at these levels anyway. It looks like it does want to break that 70 level, so I'll get out here and I'll resize to get back in at a different level. So TSLA looks awfully strong, wanting to take the volume weighted average price definitely in the green now, up 0.13 as the futures curl into 18,075, and that's helping propel Tesla along with it, right? So here we go. Tesla on the way to the high side. Let's see if we can break above the whole dollar level at 163 as well. So that'll be another level that we have to break through aggressively there. And it's on its way. It looks like it's here printing now mid 80s as the future starts printing 70s. So interesting stuff here on the day. You know, it was mostly a down day that you're getting a bit of a curl now on some of these Mag 7 names. We've kind of neglected a little bit these small cap gappers, but you know, ones that are still running go by the ticker VERI and MNMD. So MindMed and Veri both running nicely here. The other ones kind of, you know, dying out. GTAI's dying out. GERN as well. BLND dying out. Even VERB is now breaking down below 60. But Verb, the good thing about this one is it flat bottom broke through 70. So that, you know, you got bamboozled if you tried to take that flat bottom break here at around 105. But it gave you a second attempt. And now it's at that 60-cent level and also just a smidge above that 55-penny level, which is where VWAP is. So that is another thing to keep your eye on if you want to trade these small cap gappers, obviously more favorably priced for the small accounts. And, you know, you don't have to break the bank trying to get in a couple of trades. By the way, with respect to NVIDIA, if anybody wants to trade NVIDIA, we got a couple of tickers for these ones too, so that you can bamboozle a trade in NVIDIA without having to take about $890 a share. There's NVDL, which is the long. There's NVDS, which is the short, and then there's NVDX. And I'm not sure what the NVDX thing.
It's on AM.
Yeah, no, I just want to see what it is. Like, what's the fund? So this one, the fund seeks daily investment results before fees and expenses of 200% of the daily. Okay, so it's a two times bull. Excuse me, on NVIDIA. This one's a bit more expensive, more in the $98 ranges. The S and the L are like 40 some odd dollars. Let me just double check that. NVDL is trading at 40.52. NVDS is trading at $13. So NVDS is 1.25, the inverse. So that's the look there. What else we got? Looking at some of these names are all curling back up. But, you know, not with that much figure, Dara. What are you looking at over there?
Yeah, I was just messaging Carrie Weaver there in the chat. Shout out to you. She was saying, like, get out of NVIDIA. Like, NVIDIA's getting a little bit stressful. And I was like, oh, yeah, like, I did get out when I noticed that 889 break. So, yeah, shout out to you. I totally agree. NVIDIA has been a bit of like, definitely some bamboozlement. I keep stealing that word, but it keeps being an accurate word for some of these stocks. I'm out of this now because we don't really have a range for me to play. But, yeah, I love these range trades. Yeah, shout out to you, Carrie Weaver. I do think that this NVIDIA has been very much range bound all day. My NVIDIA chart is a little bit, it's doing its thing. So let's look at NVDL. I took an NVDL in this one earlier today. We did lose about 15 cents. But yeah, basically same kind of look here. We're seeing a lot of chop and churn. Some people were saying earlier it looks like a bull flag, but we couldn't really manifest that breakout. I thought earlier we kind of looked like a flat bottom break at 40.50, but then we broke below and came back. So I don't think NVIDIA really wants to respond very well to logic. And yeah, so that's kind of what it is. NVIDIA is doing its thing, 21, and really it's kind of been more of a penny scalp opportunity. AMD has been a nail biter. AMD, as it is called by Sharif, because I know you use AM Dizzle. We said earlier too. You know, AM disappointments, but definitely we almost hit 194s. We made a new high, 193.80. Look at that topping tail candle, wow! And then we continue to the downside. So I think. I honestly, because now we're kind of holding this 193.20 area as a bit of support, that was definitely a major area of resistance earlier. I would even say the 193.20 was more of a resistance area than the 193. And the 193, you can see here, here as well. Someone earlier was saying like, oh, you have so many lines in your chart, it's like the LA highway. Yeah, I mean, I like to draw my micro ranges, so I apologize for that. This is just kind of what I trade within, because I like having kind of areas of previous support and resistance that work for me. So that's kind of what that is, although I do realize there are quite a few areas here of chop and churn to draw on this. Solo Cristo saying, AMD, I hate it. Grr emoji. Maybe too harsh, but I'm like, yeah, someone earlier was saying AMD is one of the widow makers, and I honestly don't disagree, and that's why, especially with AMD, I scalp even more than I normally scalp. I took 15 pennies on this when I saw that we weren't really holding the short as well as I wanted to, because I know it's like, if you don't get out, right away, you might get trapped in AMD. So yeah, I think definitely there's always a little bit of AM danger with this name. So I do agree this has been a hard name to play, but I think because it scared me, I wanted to take some trades on this. And I have to say I'm happy I did, because we're talking today as well about backtesting. One of the ways that you can deal with some of this volatility is through backtesting and also through being in the sim. That reminds me, Jack Be Nimble, I love that name, was making a really funny, Boeing-related pun. Boeing might be flying. Oh, wait. So, yeah, that reminds me, too. Let's shout out Benzinga, because there is some more always Boeing stories to keep an eye on. And we do have our lovely sponsor, Benzinga, to thank, as always. As you can see here, there's a new story from Boeing 1254 FAA saying it's convening an expert panel to review Boeing's proposed multi-operator message in response to LATAM Flight 800, which, if you remember, had a little bit of mid-air turbulence. But we are brought to you by Benzinga Pro. You can sign up today for 50% off their premier news in research platform for retail traders with code TTV, capital letters. That is TTV, capital letters. Use the link in the description to go to checkout. But yeah, to look at the Boeing levels, they're massive chop and churn here a little bit. That 183.11 to 183.50 gives you about 50 pennies. This is not perfect, mind you. There's certainly a little bit of breaking above and below, but this topping tail candle on the 3-minute here at 12:33 is massive, and that we didn't even have any news coming at 12:34. Never mind. That was when this Fitch Ratings forecast smaller deliveries for Boeing 737 Maxes in 2024. So there actually was a news event that led to that catalyst.
Yeah.
That moved down.
And you know what I heard this morning? That Delta is actually going to an aircraft leasing company to try to get airplanes, because all the Boeing airplanes that they ordered are not going to come in time because, well, we know what happened, right? So there's inspections, there's a criminal investigation now. So yeah, maybe that's another area that we need to look at for investment there. I don't know any tickers specific to that, aircraft leasing companies that we can invest in, but that's what some of these airlines are resorting to, because, well, Boeing's probably not going to have anything for them. And then the funny thing about that is that there's some of these airlines are Boeing-only airlines. And they have been for their entirety. And now they're actually looking at completely leaving that behind and moving to Airbus because of the issues with Boeing. So, my old man says, once you lose a client or once you lose a customer, you never get them back, or it's like almost impossible to get them back, right? And so that might be something that they really need to reflect on there, because it may have long-term effects for the company. I mean, guys, I've mentioned this before, but if anybody wants to know the details of the whole Boeing saga, you really need to get onto Netflix and watch that Boeing documentary. I forget what it's called, but I'm sure if you put Boeing, it's
The Case Against Boeing.
Thank you. The Case Against Boeing, Adara. Because, I mean, that really succinctly put into perspective that whole saga with Boeing, how they were very much an avionics and aeronautics company before the merger with McDonnell Douglas. And then subsequent to that merger, it became, profits at all costs. Forget about, the actual aviation aspect of it and making sure that you cross your T's and dot your I's. And according to a lot of people, that was really the turning point there. You've had several heads roll too. That's the thing. So in the 2018 issue with the 737 Max 800, heads rolled. The CEO, he was gone, and this new guy, what's his name? Calhoun.
Dave Calhoun.
Thank you, Dave Calhoun. He's a new cat. He was not there during the 2018 saga. So yet, it really doesn't seem to have much to do with leadership here, but more about putting the dollars and cents first. So, and guys, by the way, for those who don't know, Spirit Aerosystems used to belong to Boeing. They divested that company back in 2005, thinking, if they made it its own independent company, that it would be better run, this, that, and the other. Nothing has really worked out. We've continuously had issues with Boeing airplanes. And I feel bad because I love Boeing. I mean, my uncle, he's not my uncle, he's my mom's uncle. He was a pilot for Egypt Air all his life. And yeah, he would always go to Seattle to train on the new equipment, right? Whether it was a 737 back then or the 707 when he started, and then he flew the 747, the jumbo jet, for like years and years and years. And he always praised Boeing. He always praised the training that they gave him in Seattle. Seems like that's kind of like a dying story now, though.
That's crazy.
I think that's kind of like a thing of the past. Anyway, let's get to some looks here on the future. About 8 minutes left on the show before the big kahunas take you into that power hour time slot. Let's talk about what the market is doing. So we've been dancing with this 18,050 area, 18,050 area on the futures, a smidge above 18,000. You know, you could try to make the argument that there's an inverse head and shoulders over here that developed between, say, 12:15 and the current time slot. I don't know how much stock I'd put into that, but what I would say is that there's a clear neckline here or top at 18,070. If we break above that, well, we know exactly what the reverse head and shoulders is indicative of. It is indicative of a trend reversal, and what preceded the trend was a big boy down movement. So this would be perfect if this was actually a head and shoulders over here. We'll have to wait and see. No guessing coming from this chair. We'll have to wait for that price to break above that 18,075 and hold. With respect to resistance levels that you can encounter, you're going to look at something like the 100-point level as well as the volume-weighted average price, which is at that 125 level. So, yeah, that's a decent look here on the futures. It looks to recover off lows. With the future pump in here, we have you have the Katina Man, $2 in the money now off that 886 long on NVDA. It just touched almost 888, triple eights, baby. Looking to come in there. TSLA has also been doing the dance with that 162 3/4 or thereabouts. That's the volume weighted average price on Tesla, and it's having a lot of trouble breaking and holding above that. And then for whatever reason, we found a bit of a bottom here on Apple at 172.50. So we're getting a bit of a range trade now. Well, not a bit of a range trade. We've had a range trade since that Huadunk ended at 10:30 this morning on Apple. It's been awfully rangy, but you know, at times it's broken above the range into the 50 period over here at at 171.75. But yeah, that one is also finding a bit of a bid as the market looks like it's finding a bit of a bid. Apple coming into 171, it looks like here. Apple getting a big move up here. What the hell is going on? Off that 170.50 into 170.90. All right, within 1 minute candle. But you're not getting that in isolation. You're getting that on Amazon. You're also getting it on Meta. So a couple of bigger green candles here coming in on some of these Mag 7 names as we just finished yapping about that futures level over here. So do we get that continuity through 18,075 and maybe into 125 or even 200? Time will tell. There's about 5 minutes left on the show, but it's been mostly a down and to the right day. So if you were short inclined for the save and except for the Katina Man who's able to deal with NVDA's range, that's a $3 winner now on NVIDIA. Shout out to him. And you know he's doing this with higher lows. I just want to point that out. He's not even at his desk. That makes me feel great for the day I've had. No, I mean, the Katina Man has got 20 some odd years of experience. Put some respect on the man's name, right? So NVIDIA, almost more than a $3 winner at the moment, but there goes Tesla, and it goes through that 163 area. So it looks as if Tesla will hold that VWAP area that it's been having trouble with, but I want to call out bamboozlement, and we got it earlier. So we did have 3 separate VWAP breaks, all with lower highs on TSLA. So maybe what you want to look for here before you get into Tesla, if you're not just scalping it, is wait for that higher high to come to fruition above that 163 3/4. We had a VWAP break here, it failed. We had another VWAP break here, it failed, and we're getting one right now. So if the trend is any indication, this one will fail. That is, I would suggest to you, unless you get a higher high, right? And then that fundamentally changes the trade, right? So look for that 163.75 break. It's owing to this area over here where we crested out Let's see what we get on Tesla. Right now, we're having trouble breaking through the $0.25. Not really surprising there. I figured, we probably have another fake out breakout through VWAP. So we'll continue to watch. Softy also curling back up until 415. And look at this, Adara. It actually respected to the T support level 2 on the pivots. So Microsoft loving pivots today.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. I always say I love that you're using the pivots because they're not something I have available. Yeah. But I know there'll be times where I'll talk about a level and you'll be like, oh, look at where the pivot is.
Right.
And I'll be like, oh my gosh, right? So it is really cool how they, I won't say it quite like that.
Love it.
But I think it is really cool how there is this really strange respect for them. Maybe it's one of those levels that, as Obi says, there's some magnetism towards.
Yes.
Also, Tesla rejecting that one 63.20. But I want to talk one more. We had one more AMD scalp for good measure. Yeah, I pretty happy with this. We took it, like I said, I continue taking the shorts off the 192.50 because that was a massive level for me for AMD. Also, bless you to whoever just sneezed. Then I got involved in this. I was going to try to take it to 192.80s. We ended up having a little bit of a struggle, so I ended up taking it to 192.75s. Please just punch. The out for me, my stop was going to be 192.30 because that was also a little bit of an area earlier. But yeah, I've been staring at this chart all day and happy it mostly paid off. Can't believe this trading week's already over. Oh my gosh. This has been a really fun one where I feel like I learned a lot.
I have an announcement. Ram's boyfriend is a pilot, a commercial pilot. So, Ram, if he happens to get a job at Air Canada or anything, yeah. I know he flies a plane, he's a pilot. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about discounts. No, I'm kidding. I'm not putting you on the spot, Ram, yet, but that's awesome. That was like my... No, it's not her who's going to give out the discount. It's him, right? Isn't it? Okay, Neil. All right, the Neil's like, yo, you put her on the spot. You said you didn't want to put her on the spot. And then you say, give me a discount. So you want to put her on the spot. I'm like, it's her boyfriend who's going to give the discount. Guys, we're breaking up above these levels on the future right now. Here we go. We were talking about this inverse head and shoulders with the neckline at 7.5. Well, we just got prints at 80. So the future could be on the way up here as we get multiple Mag 7 names curling to the high side. I think we may even get an 890 touch on NVDA. We're awfully close. Yeah, we're like 10 pennies away, dude, from that level. And I think you might make a higher high too, which is going to fundamentally change the trend on that one. The future on its way to 18.1, it looks like. Finally, power hour starts pumping. Adara, 1 minute left.
Yeah, I was just saying too, I just put this in the chat, it could be a new airline once Ramin gets her plane. Instead of Pan Am, it could be Ram Am. So, yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I think that would be a fun one. There's been so much in these markets today. Really happy you're trying to micro scalping this week. Really, but next week we're going to be having a whole new topic. We're going to be bringing some new stuff to you guys here on how to trade. And we will see you same bad time, same bad channel, coming on Monday. But right now, Brendan is at the big desk.
Hi guys, happy Friday afternoon. Yeah, 2 hours left on what's turning into a pretty red day here. I had to go and open my mouth this morning and say it was going to be a positive